Okay, everyone, I call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the 34th City Council for July 18th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Can everyone in the audience please silence your phones as to not disturb the meeting? Mr. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Enos?
Here.
Councilmember Hammoud? Here. Councilmember Abraham?
Here.
Councilmember Paris?
Here.
Councilmember El Sawafi?
Here.
Councilmember Herrick?
Here.
Council President Sereni?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to turn over the meeting to Councilman Gary Enos. Here.
At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce Pastor Josh Lebeck of Dearborn Baptist Church, who will give the invocation at tonight's meeting. Everyone who is able, please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Father in heaven, thank you so much for your goodness to us, your grace that is expressed to us as sinners through the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ and the hope that we have in your word. Thank you for this city, Lord, that we live in and the great freedoms and prosperity that we enjoy in this nation. Thank you for a city council that still stops to pray and seek divine guidance before making decisions. I pray that tonight none would lead on their own wisdom, but that you'd grant guidance to this council, direct their paths and guide their thoughts. I pray that they would be successful in their efforts to do good for this city. I pray tonight for Homecoming Festival. May it be a safe and successful event that brings us all closer together as a community. May you protect our police and fire departments, protect our community members as we all enjoy the blessings of a Michigan summer. I pray above all that your name would be known and be praised and that your will would be done in this city and in this council meeting tonight. We ask all this in Christ's name. Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, thank you, Pastor. Appreciate that. Okay, at this time, we will begin with our public comment portion. I just want to remind everybody in the audience, please be respectful to others. There's a comment cards. The information is listed on the back. There will be no outbursts or shouting from the audience. If that happens, we will give you a warning, and then we will have to have you removed from the chambers. So at this time, we're going to start with our state reps, two of our three state reps on the public comment time, Mr. Alabes Farhat and Aaron Burns. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President Sereni. Good evening, Council, Mayor, Mr. Clerk, and Jackie, and Jeremy as well. Thank you for having us tonight. And we wanted to give a brief update on some budget wins for the city of Dearborn as well as some legislative updates tonight. So I'll kick us off on the budget end of things. We're very excited to have secured $5 million towards the construction of a new fire station in Dearborn. We'll be working towards more funding for that as well come fall. In addition, we received $3 million to go towards public health department programming for the city, which I think will be a great way to expand some of the programming, and I'm sure the mayor can talk more about that. And last, I'll mention, and then I'll turn it over to Rep. Farhat. We also received $500,000 towards a community-based crisis response grant. So Dearborn is one of 3 cities across the state that received $500,000 for this grant. And it's really to help us kind of expand upon our unarmed crisis response that the city has been piloting through a partnership with Access. So Dearborn, Ann Arbor, and Kalamazoo are 3 cities that were chosen across the state, and each has a different unarmed crisis response model that they're currently implementing. So this funding will help kind of expand that, test out these different models, and see what is most effective in different areas that can then be modeled after. I'll turn it over to you for more budget.
Yeah, thank you, Representative Burns. I just want to share as well, in the budget, we had some big infrastructure wins. I want to, recognize that in the mayor's tenure as a state rep, he was able to secure a big portion of the funding needed to start and finish Miller Road and Miller Bridge. We were able to come in because of the inflated costs for construction with an additional $20 million to get that project over the finish line and get that done on time, hopefully. More than just that, we've been, I'll say this, the city of Dearborn has really positioned itself well in the budget. We've had a lot of nonprofits do very good in receiving programming funding going forward. Access will be breaking ground on the new Substance Abuse and Disorder Center that'll hopefully be in the city of Dearborn. That's going to help put 50 some odd beds online to help deal with the substance abuse crisis that we're seeing in our city and in our region broadly. And then as well, Henry Ford Community College also secured around $10 million for a Student Success Center, which is going to be able to provide wraparound support, wraparound services. And we know Henry Ford and our K through kind of 14 system here in Dearborn is an amenity. A lot of folks And a lot of residents really come to appreciate. And so to make sure we have a student success center there, this is going to make sure kids can go on and be successful when they pursue that 4-year degree or they finish their 2-year degree there at Henry Ford. On the policy side, we're still working on getting done the Public Safety and Violence Prevention Trust Fund. That'll hopefully help bring back dollars on a recurring basis to the city of Dearborn for the use of things like CVI, crime violence intervention, or traditional public safety. And we're still waiting for that, hopefully, to make its way to a committee vote and then to the floor. But again, Dearborn, I think, struck out very well, or hit out really well in this budget process. So I thank the council for their partnership in doing this. Thank you, Mayor, and all that you do in Lansing to make sure we get things across the finish line. And hopefully this is the start of many more budgets that this Dearborn team is going to be able to bring down successfully.
Well, I do appreciate it, Mr. Alabas, for our rep and our Rep Burns. Mayor, I don't know if you want to add to it. I can tell you that under the mayor's tutelage, it's great that we have 3 reps now. But more importantly, I know that we had secured a new, what do you call it? Legislative, what was it that we?
A lobby firm?
Lobbyist firm.
Yeah.
So I know that you guys are doing your work too, but this is probably one of the most amount of money that I've seen come down. I know that the state is funded pretty well, but Mayor, I don't know if you'd like to speak on it, because to me, what I've seen come through is the largest I've seen since I've been on the council.
Yeah, I mean, we have quite the caucus. Also want to acknowledge, obviously, our Senator Sylvia Santana, who's not here today. But we've been working hand in hand. I think I communicated with state reps fairly frequently. We're thankful, honestly, for all that you do deliver, not only to the city of Dearborn as a governmental institution, but all the city of Dearborn partners. I think in terms of total sums of money that have come down, it's a great amount, and that's as a former legislator, props to you all. Majority is nice, but it's honestly, I think we're all going to feel the impact here in the city of Dearborn and beyond, and so we're just grateful for the partnership, and we're looking forward to any supplemental or any future budgets.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, as they say, it's always a good opportunity to spend money, right, when it comes back to home. So we'll
Absolutely.
keep our heads up for that. But thank you all for the time.
Do appreciate your work,
Thank
and
you
thanks
so
for
much.
coming and giving us the update. I do appreciate it.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you. Okay, at this time, we would like to talk to our first guest speaker, Mr. Hassan Aoun.
First of all, I would like to,
You can, Mr. Aoun, the best way to do it is you could give it to our executive. She'll pass it down so it doesn't take up your time.
good afternoon, my name is Hassan Aoun, public activist. Give you guys the Robert Rules of Order. This is right here, copy. So you won't tell me I can't suspend the rules. Anyways. Give you a resolution over here. This resolution is, it's in black and white, that the only flag to be on city property is the American flag, the prison of war flag, state flag, and the Dearborn flag. That's it. I'm asking you guys to adopt this recommendation. Does anybody want to adopt it, please? And put on our next agenda. Anybody? Yes? No? Okay. You know what to do, Mike. Suspend the rules, put the motion on the floor, and take roll call. Chair, suspend the rules, put the motion on the floor, and take roll call.
So we have had
I'm asking you one
several,
time.
you're going to let me, when
Go
you
ahead,
ask
go
me
ahead.
to speak, you're going to let me speak. If you're not going to let me speak, we're going to have you removed. That's your warning.
No, you
I wanna
can't.
make it very
Then
clear.
remove me then.
Okay?
You remove me then.
You've
I'm
asked
speaking to you.
before, okay, to remove
You guys are
somebody
mute, that's why.
to-
I'm telling you, suspend the, listen, we're not gonna sit there and waste my time.
don't raise your voice.
Suspend the rules,
Do not raise
put
your
the
voice.
motion on the floor, suspend the
not-
rules, and take roll call.
Mr. Owen,
I'm asking you,
Do not raise your
put the
voice.
motion on the floor, ask your colleagues if they wanna sit there and put the motion on the floor. That's what I'm asking you. It's either yes or no. It's either you're gonna do it or throw me out. Your choice. I got 3 minutes. So tell me, you want to put the motion on the floor, or you guys are here. Everybody's listening to you. You guys are mute, you guys are not comprehended of the Robert Rules of Order. You guys made it on the 14th and put a Closed session, am I correct? It's on the record. You guys are the most mutest people I've ever seen in my life. You're very disrespectful to this community. Every single one of you. So do you want to suspend the rules or no? Look at you. You are a lawyer, you don't even know what to do. Sorry for you to be a lawyer. You don't even know the Robert Rules of Order, do you? Or you just want to sit there and make me look stupid, but you know the rules.
We're not making you look stupid.
Yeah, it's just, you can't
have a
even
lawyer.
ask your colleagues. Do you
have
want
a
to ask your
lawyer.
colleagues, yes or no?
You have your lawyer. I don't have to ask them. They
I
know
don't
the
need
rules.
my lawyer.
You have a lawyer. He
This
sent
ain't
us
got
in.
nothing to do with my lawyer.
Your
My
lawyer sent
my
us a
lawyer is my
recommendation. Do
FOIA
not
lawyer.
raise your
It's
voice.
nothing to do with my FOIA.
Next time I tell you, you're going to leave, okay?
Do what you have to do.
I already told
Do
you.
what you have to do.
You have a lawyer representing you.
Listen,
That's
my
what-
lawyer has nothing to do with the Robert Rules of Order, okay? My lawyer is my FOIA lawyer. I got my criminal lawyer, FOIA lawyer, okay? And then my lawyer that will sue you guys. And he still has not filed suit against you. So, at this time, I am asking you, this is not a lawsuit. This is a lawsuit? You call this a lawsuit?
Mr. Owen.
You call this a lawsuit?
Do not
For me
raise your
to tell
voice.
you to put a resolution?
We have to have him removed. You're removed. Get out.
Okay.
You're out. I've
So
told
you
several
violated
times.
the Public Act me, right?
Mr. Owen,
Is my time up,
you are
yes or
done.
no?
Your time is up, Mr.
Okay,
Clerk.
then
is
my
your
time is up, I can
completed?
go sit down, right?
No, you're being removed.
Okay,
You
no
turn
problem.
around and start
That's what you
grandstanding,
wanted.
I told you, you're removed. All right, next person is, oh, no, that's the, Kim Stratton? Stan, I'm sorry.
Hi, I wanted to just kind of support. what
Ma'am,
was
just so
said.
you can state your name and address for the record, just for the.
Kim
phone.
Stanton, 38284 Timberland Drive, West End, Michigan.
Thank you.
I want to support the, what flags can be flown. I have a nice little tidy thing from the city of Livonia. They have, there's clearly spelled out what they allow and what they don't allow. And it's really not about including or not including, it's being a whole community. Singling out any particular flag for any particular group of people gives them, it's not necessary. The American flag covers all of us. But they do have it spelled out, so if you wanted to take a look at the municicode.com, it goes from the city of Livonia, 11.01.010, all the way to .040, and what flags they've permitted. And this way, we won't have people arguing about flags. If it's down in writing and we adopt it, then we're not going to have people feeling bad. We're not going to have this kind of argument and discussion and dissension in the community. It's very simple. We're a municipality. Municipalities should follow maybe a different rule than you would put on your house. You want to flag anything on your house that doesn't offend, like pornographically or something gross, that's different. But you know what I'm saying? But I would refer you to check that out. It's well-written, short, sweet, simple, to the point, and I would suggest that the city of Dearborn and perhaps all municipalities would adopt that. And that's all.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
that. Okay, next we have Brandon, I don't know how to pronounce it, Elefant? No? Valerie Novas?
I think you were saving us for the end.
Oh, that's right, oh, that, yes, thank you. Okay, Mr. Mike Cash.
Good evening, Council. Obviously, Mike Hashem. I'm here today to talk about the inflow of crime that's been happening in the city of Dearborn. Dearborn obviously was once one of the safest cities in the country, but now we're regressing from that status. Just based on crimemapping.com, every single day there has been auto thefts in the city, and the number just grows. Just last week, I had a car at 2 a.m. that I witnessed that was about to get stolen. And I chased the thieves away. And we seen another crime that also happened to a 12-year-old being pushed off of a bike in broad daylight in our city. And just last night, a Dodge Durango was stolen out of a driveway in East Dearborn on Oakman and Warren. When are we gonna, bump up our patrols? We need to add more cops to the streets. There was an incident that happened in our community. A person got murdered. All the police were at the murder scene, and the whole city was left wide open for thefts and crime to happen. That's the night when I witnessed that crime, and the car was about to get stolen. And that car was for a single mother in our city. And the next thing is, we need some sort of team, a police team in the city, to actually tackle these hotspots in our city. We know where the hotspots are. I understand we have to meet some metrics, according to certain nonprofits, to make sure we're not harassing other groups. But that should not be on the cost of our citizens and the safety of our citizens in the city. That should be something that we should make sure every citizen feels safe to sleep in their own home. Also, a couple nights ago, a lady was sleeping in her own home, and thieves broke in the middle of the night and robbed the house. How many more crimes is it gonna take for us to actually do something? Because in the end of the day, what you're gonna start having is citizens taking action by themselves. You're gonna have citizens shooting people on the doorstep that tried to rob them. Do we need more citizens taking the law into their own hands, or do we need to step up patrols in the street? We need more cops, and we need our cops to give them some leniency to do the job that they were hired to do.
You have 30 seconds.
And on top of that, what's happening is some of the cops can't do their job because of some administrative officials telling them relax on certain issues. So I hope we're gonna take a look at that because things are getting wild. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hashem. Do we have any more public comment cards?
Council
Okay.
President, can I make a few remarks?
Mayor, absolutely.
So I'm going to make a few remarks because I think it's important people to have facts and not to give into misinformation. And so I have the 2022 period of offenses relative to 2019, which is the last solid year, obviously before COVID, or even to 2021. What I can tell you is murders were down 60%, kidnapping, abduction, parental kidnapping down 75%, robberies down 14%, burglary, forced entry down 30%, larceny, theft from motor vehicle down 11%, forgery, counterfeiting down 42%, family abuse, neglect, nonviolent down 11%, controlled substance, narcotic violations down 33%. Almost every major violent crime category in the city of Dearborn year over year is actually down percentage-wise. You can actually go on our Dearborn Police dashboards as well and also look at citations issued. Citations issued are up 100% on issues of speeding and reckless driving. To the one incident of the individual that had a stolen bike, that individual came in, turned himself in, and reprimanded within the police department. And so they're totally following protocols. We have over 12 additional officers patrolling our neighborhoods. We've added police officers in the last 2 successive budgets. And so I think we're doing a phenomenal job. I think our Dearborn Police are doing a phenomenal job. I think anybody trying to paint that the Dearborn Police are not doing a good job are actually not looking to the data. And so we commend our officers who put their lives on the line each and every single day, who are out there doing a pretty remarkable job. So I think that's very important to stay. People who speak to things like administration is saying X, Y, and Z are obviously not formally trained, have never been to the police academy, and have no understanding for how administrative policies actually work. The police chief with his commanding unit and his commanding officers are the ones who work with our A team and our B team each and every single night to issue the directions and the directives and the orders for how we police our neighborhoods. We have 8 beats or 8 precincts across our city, which are patrolled by our officers, and we've improved our patrolling in our beats using the data that we have. And again, anybody's free to use the data because it's online, publicly available. Just Google Dearborn Police Dashboard. You can actually see where every major car accident is and where every citation is issued across the entire city. So again, very important that we lead with facts and not give in to misinformation from people who have no idea what the heck they're saying.
Mayor, thank you very much. I can just say for myself that during our budget session, I think my colleagues are all aware too, we have one of the highest police to resident ratios in the country. So I don't feel that we need to add more police. And I echo that, Mayor Stedman's, that they're doing a great job, so we do appreciate it.
Mike, is there any way I could add
No,
one
you
more
cannot.
thing?
You cannot.
I just want to say.
Mike,
crime-
Mr.
crime-
Hashem, Mr. Hashem,
Crimemapping.com.
Mr. Hashem. You have 3 minutes to speak. You're not coming back up to rebuttal. This is not a court. This is a public hearing. You want to come and speak at the end of the meeting, you can. I am not going to tolerate it. We are not tolerating an out-of-order meeting whatsoever. You like to speak, you can readdress those your comments at the end of the meeting, at the other public comment section. Do we have anyone at other cards? All right, if no one filled out a card and would like to step forward, I'd like to give you the opportunity to address the council before we get to our regular scheduled meeting. So, yes.
Good evening, Zuhair Abdulhaq, 354 Rosemary. Thank you, Mayor, for explaining what our police department is doing. Facts are the best thing to tell the public, and the truth is the best thing to tell the public. I want to ask about item 58.
Mr. Huck, we reserve those questions for the time the item comes up.
Okay.
But let me just make sure that, Mr. Clerk, is that item under the consent agenda?
It is not.
Okay, so Mr.
I can wait.
Can you wait, if you don't mind? I really appreciate it. Just for procedural aspect, it's not in the consent agenda, so it will be addressed separately, and we will definitely have you come up. So
I can wait.
we'll just make sure at 58, we make sure that he comes up. All right, anyone else who'd like to address the council regarding city business, please step forward. Okay, sure, there's one other lady, you come right behind. If you'd like to stand on that side, you can. Go ahead.
How do I know if it's on the consent agenda or
Okay, first you
the
need to
regular?
state your name and address for the record so they can start.
Stephanie
your-
Butler, Gregory Street, Dearborn.
This consent, the agenda is prepared by the clerk.
Up
Mr.
to
Clerk.
items 45 are on consent. Everything after 45 is not on the consent.
So where does the health department fall in? I'm not gonna sit here and waste everybody's time going through this whole thing, but you know what number that?
Are you here to speak about the health department item?
The hiring, yes.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, is that part of the consent agenda?
I have to look through them all.
What item, Councilman? Okay, so, Ms. Butler, it's item 60, so you're more free to address it when it comes up, and I'll make sure to pause for you to come up. That's item
Okay.
number 60.
So at this point, then, can I give public comment on something else? Not?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
So, I was just, you know, we like to sugarcoat everything, but let's be honest with each other. I don't care what statistics come out, I care about what we see, what we live every single day. So I went to my corner gas station, I've been going there for years and years and years. All of a sudden, they're installing bulletproof glass. Of course, I inquire, why on Monroe and Outer Drive do we need bulletproof glass? Well, we were robbed for the 5th time by gunpoint 3 weeks ago for lotto tickets. I said, you have to be kidding me. We don't hear about these things. So to say that our city is not, and then I just had to call the police the other night because I saw someone behind my neighbor's garage going through, my dog's barking, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, twigs are breaking, obviously there's something going on over there. I just find it very disrespectful when somebody tries to sit up there and tell residents about their lived experiences, okay? And in a manner that diminishes and degrades what we are here for, okay? So there's a certain way to talk to residents who pay everybody's salary, who run, you know, we pay. Without us, there would be nothing, okay? I don't agree with the 6 people to pick up garbage. We don't need that. We need the people that we've already hired. It's either that or get rid of those people who are supposed to be our liaisons who do jack shit, I'm sorry, nothing. This city is filthy, I'm sorry. And you know what's sad? Nobody even has to move their cars on garbage day. Now, when the last administration was here, you wouldn't dare park your car on the street on garbage day. Now, nobody even moves their cars because nobody comes around and enforces it. We have an enforcement problem in the city. We need to start fining people for not cutting their grasses, for throwing trash. We need to find the businesses who are not taking care of what they need to take care of. We don't need to just hire on people, more people, more people. to do the job that was, how did it get done all these other years? And the city was clean and beautiful. Every single gutter on our streets is filled, you know that, we live on the same street, filled with debris, mud, dirt, okay, I've never seen it like that, I've never seen it.
You have 30 seconds?
Yeah, I just wanna say, like, please don't diminish what the residents feel, they're living on a daily basis. Hear us, that's what we come to address this body. Just, we want you to hear us and respect what it is and look into it, send someone to look into it, that's all we ask.
Thank you very much. And we ask the same, this is a public body for the residents. The people up here are doing this job, volunteering their time at of what I would consider a significant amount of time. So we do ask that if you want to be heard, you need to make a clear and articulate argument that actually makes sense, that somebody can actually understand what you're saying, and then you would be able to get addressed properly. Other than that, there's plenty other cities that you could go to and do what they do in other cities, but in this city, we're not allowing it. So, and just for the record, I had my nephew get 2 tickets already for leaving his car in the in the street because there's no room in the driveway because it's a shared driveway in the Springwells area where there's very tight parking. So, you know, again, we can have matters of difference of opinion. And I do appreciate, Mayor, I know you shared something this morning that I
could speak
shared
to it.
about. Yeah, I'd like you to speak to it because, you know, there is, and it was funny to me too, is people that are for less government then sometimes want the government to do everything. We cannot clean the gutters of the residents. I just want to make that clear. We have not, nor will we take up gutter cleaning in the city of Dearborn. So that has a lot to do with the persons. You know, we can only do so much as we can. So, Mayor?
I think, just clarify, I think the resident was speaking to the catch basins on the streets. But nonetheless, we kicked off a Clean Streets campaign. Garbage has been a very big issue in the city, especially post-pandemic. One of the reasons is, you know, to inquire as to what was done prior to this administration. Largely, the community service program by our courts was the lead cleaning authority across the whole city. So what happened during COVID was all of this was suspended. The community service program was suspended in its entirety. The juvenile program actually canceled altogether. And what we found post-COVID is even though individuals were still cited to come to participate in the community service program as a way to have a lesser result to the offense that they committed, they were not showing up and participating. And so we've done several things as a city. We've, with the support of the council, have the funding of a clean streets crew, basically a litter crew. You see this happening in a lot of major cities across America that will go around and whose focus and their focal point will be on picking up litter. We fixed the street sweepers. When we first came in, a lot of our street sweepers were down, and we had to outsource the fixing of those street sweepers because we had no mechanics in-house. We ordered 2 leaf vac trucks. The vacuum trucks will be extremely helpful, especially in the fall season. Those trucks actually arrive hopefully later this month, if not early August. We're working with small businesses, actually creating a one-pager right now to inform business owners what they should be doing on their perimeters. Business owners are actually responsible for the sidewalk around their business, just as residents are responsible for the sidewalk in front of their house for shoveling and things of that nature. What you're seeing is not a lack of effort of the city. What you're seeing is a lack of respect by residents and by visitors to our city who are going out to eat or going to a park and then leaving all their trash and their filth. There's no amount of money that you can throw to fix that issue. That's the honest to God truth. You need people to care. If you don't care for your own home, our own city, no visitor is going to care. If they see you as a resident or as a business owner not caring for the clutter and the garbage around your business, no visitor is going to care when they leave that table, which is why I made my post today, because it has to be all hands on deck. And so I'm thankful for all the residents that submitted on our Clean Streets campaign survey. We have close to 100 submissions, and our team is actually plowing through those, all hands on deck. And so we're really excited, and we're communicating with the residents about the things that they submitted. What we're also finding is some of the complaints are not within Dearborn's control. Sometimes it's on a school property, or it's on a county road, or things of that nature. So we're also communicating with our interlocal agencies to make sure they're informed about what's happening. But that's what we're doing on the Clean Streets campaign effort, and I think it's extremely important that residents help buy in. And if you see somebody leaving garbage out, I think it's okay to say something, to let them know that they should be tossing that away. I'm doing it. I have 2 litter pickup sticks in my truck that I drive around with all the time. because I don't like to see litter anywhere. And so I encourage residents to really help in. If we don't care for our own home, nobody else will.
Thank you, Mayor, and I just want to make it clear to the residents too, that was an initiative that I brought forward through the council during budget, and those that were here in the budget, specifically for, as the mayor indicated, the court cleaning crew is no longer sufficient. So because under the mayor's leadership and because we tightened our belts, we were able to have excess funding. So I brought that forward, and my colleagues, I was honored that they supported that four-person team that are exclusively for the trash, the collection, and the blight. The blight is getting bad, and we are doing something about it. Of course, those that understand how the government works, we can only fund that and put it in the budget. But thankful the mayor was bought in on this project as well, and we are able to facilitate it and get them going. Has we hired all of them? Because it was 4.
The laborers? The
Yes.
postings are live now. So if you'd like to be a part of our team, these are laborer positions on the City of Dearborn government website. We'd love for you to apply. The posting is live right now.
Right. So I just want the residents to know that was a council initiative. The mayor obviously appreciated it and has to buy into it in order for it to be implemented. And we have not hired all the personnel yet, but I do feel it's going to make a big difference because their sole job is going to be blight, litter, broken awnings, roofs ripped off. I mean, we've all seen it, and we will get there. I promise you. That's why it's there for. All right. Any other questions or comments, sir? Would you like to step forward?
Good evening. Hassan Beydoun, 7401 Schaefer. I just want to know a little more about the flag proposal that was brought up, about just, having the United States flag and the Michigan flag represent us all under unity. I think that'd be a great proposal and something to think about, as it won't, favor, certain groups or ideologies over the whole of us. If you want to practice what you want, I believe that's a given right to all. It's equality under the United States of America flag. And I believe that should be our unity, and it will stop a lot of the division that we have. I think it's a beautiful proposal to have on all of our city-owned properties. So I would love if you could all address that, please.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, sir, would you like to step forward and state your name and address for the record? And just a kindly reminder, we are at our 30-minute limit, so after you're done, anybody that did not get a chance to speak, we will have it at the end of the meeting. Sure. Go ahead, sir.
So my name is Jackson Wagner. I'm a Dearborn resident. I've heard a number of public comments today, and first I'd like to say that I don't know that the big government, small government is an important, the way that I would frame, I think, what politics comes down to. I think at the end of the day, there are people who believe that public institutions and public policy are a crude cudgel to deal with any problem they imagine. And there are people who understand that public institutions have an important role and they fulfill certain services, but that you can't, if all you have is a hammer, everything begins to look like a nail. It's the law of the instrument. I think recently in another city, in Hamtramck, there was a well-publicized, that got international media attention. There was a similar resolution pushed by the same agence provocateurs, to ban the flying of any flag on city property other than, the 4 they mentioned. And this notion that, a certain number of flags are enough to represent everybody. I mean, never mind that Dearborn isn't at the present moment flying other flags on city property anyway. They're making a non-issue, right? They're addressing something that they don't really have standing because it's not something that's come up. But even setting that aside, right? I think a recurring theme in this city's history, for better and for worse, is that, well, mostly for worse, is that, we've really struggled. We've really struggled to live up to this country's principles as a country, and we have failed to fully embrace the diversity of this city. And we've come a long way, right? But, the mayorship of Mayor Hubbard for many decades in the 20th century is something that is a shameful part of this city's history. We had a fight about the public display of Mayor Hubbard's statue, right? And so the notion that it's simply enough to say we represent everybody, right? When does that start, right? Because if we apply that standard back to the beginning of the 20th century, then Mayor Hubbard would never been allowed to hold public office, much less, would he ever have been honored since he left office, right? The legacy of Mayor Hubbard and the impact he's had on African American communities, not just in this city, but in the wider metro area, is something that, well, I mean, let's just represent everybody, doesn't really account for.
You have
And
30
this-
seconds.
This notion that, you know, to reduce human beings that are born a certain way to mere ideologies is patently ridiculous. You know, that people like me, you know, that queer men were rounded into concentration camps in Germany 80 years ago and forced to wear pink triangles, right? It's murdered for who they were. This isn't an ideology. There are people, LGBT people have existed for all of human history.
I'm sorry, your time
And we've
has
had this,
expired.
you know, fight in the city, the school districts, and
Thank you very much, Mr. Brander, for your comments. Appreciate it. All right, at this time, we have concluded the public comment portion of our 30 minutes. Mr. Clerk, and reminder, there is another public comment at the end of the meeting. And again, of course, any agenda item that you'd like to address, please feel free to stand up when the item is called so we can recognize you right away. Mr. Clerk, can you call the first item, please?
Item number 5 is a resolution by Council President Sereni, supported unanimously, acknowledging Candy Berry, Jim and Claudia Corcoran, and John and Jody Ann McAuliffe on their continuous city beautification efforts with a council citation and requesting immediate effect.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. This is a situation where a resident reached out to one of our councilmen, Councilman Abraham, about beautifying an area of the public, which we were just talking about garbage, so this is a great segue. Councilman Abraham, would you like to talk about it?
Sure, I think kind of stole my thunder there a little bit, but
Tried not
I think
to.
it is a great segue because we being the council and the administration tend to primarily hear about problems in our community, and it's actually pretty rewarding and exciting when something refreshing comes through. And so I got a call a week or so ago about a group of residents, neighbors, that decided a long time ago that they were going to essentially take ownership to a small triangle of city property in the middle of a neighborhood intersection. And so for years and years, they've been planting flowers, taking care of this property like it was their own, and really adding value to the whole neighborhood and beautifying this little, you know, probably 70 by 70 by 70 triangle in the middle of the street. And I think it's just a great example of what we're kind of all hoping for up here, that not only people take care of their own property, but as I've said and spoke with the mayor about, it's even going past that. Even if it doesn't appear to be your responsibility, if we can all do just a little bit extra, we'll end up with beautiful neighborhoods regardless of who throws the garbage and who's responsible to pick it up. The idea is to meet our goal, and that's to have beautiful, safe neighborhoods. And we can all do our part. And this is just an example of that. They read off the names. The council and the administration put together citations for each of the neighbors that participated in this program over the years. And unfortunately, they couldn't make it to the meeting tonight. But I think it's important that when people go above and beyond what's expected of them, that they are rewarded and recognized, even if it's in a small fashion like this citation issued by this Dearborn City Council.
Thank you, Councilman Abraham. Just to add on to that, I will read the names back in the record, and we will be mailing them out the citations. I can say that this does have a positive effect, and it goes along with the mayor's post this morning as well. When I grew up in Dearborn, there was a gentleman that I never forgot. I was probably 13 to 15 years old, and he would walk from Tireman to Ford Road on Oakman, where we lived, back and forth, which is 3 miles, every morning, and have a small little bucket pail and pick up anything, like as far as a gum wrap or anything. That goes a long way, because that's 40 years ago, 35 years ago, 38 years ago at least or so, and I still remember it today. So these people, Sandy Berry, Jim and Claudia Cochran, and John and Jody McCall, I could tell you, they mean a lot to the residents. We also have a saying that goes way back, that your neighbor is more important than anything else. And when you have neighbors that take on a project of beautifying a streetscape that's owned by the city by watering it, putting flowers in, making it look good, believe me, your neighbors recognize that and feel more at home. So we do appreciate it, and we will be sending out that citation on behalf of Councilman Abraham and the council and the collective body. All right. Any other questions? Councilman Paris?
Thank you, Council President. Can I ask what area it is? I don't remember.
Street
stated.
is, just, I don't know the exact street. I think it's
Do you have it,
just
Jack?
off of Beach and, Fairmont, where they come together there, just west of Telegraph by the golf.
By the golf course. Yeah.
Yeah, I live in that neighborhood and I still can't figure out the streets after
Yeah, that is a
20
tough,
years, so-
that's a tough circle.
West of Telegraph, east of the golf course. I think
Yeah.
it's Beachmont and Fairmont
Yeah.
come together there.
Yep. And just a reminder, the neighbors called Councilman Abraham, the neighbors that were not participating in this and wanted to make sure that their neighbors got acknowledgement for what a great job they did of beautifying. So we do appreciate that. Councilman?
If I could mention too, there are a number of other areas within the city that residents have taken the initiative and so on. And I, just offhand and so on, because I know how much work that they've done down in the Ford Historic District. And there's all sorts of other areas too. So don't want to minimize in any way, shape, or form the efforts of a lot of our residents that are trying to do what they can for their neighborhoods, because it's contagious. So thank you.
Can I add
Yes,
to that?
Councilwoman Herrick, yeah.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you to my colleagues and to Councilman Paris for mentioning the Ford Homes Historic District is just one example of many neighborhood associations across the city that take on projects. Schmansky Park, I think, is one where there are flowers in the corner. And I'm trying to think of the other park in there, that the Southern Outer Drive Soda neighborhood maintains and puts in flowers each year. I know in the past, like the aviation subdivision in Northeast Dearborn has had community projects. And so we have small groups, like just a few neighbors working together, but then we also have neighborhoods working together and setting priorities and raising funds to put in gardens and things like that. And if your neighborhood doesn't currently have an active neighborhood association, if you've got a couple neighbors that want to get together and just, start one, contact the City of Dearborn. Our neighborhood liaisons are eager to work with the neighborhoods and go to neighborhood meetings to start neighborhood associations and talk to the other neighborhood associations about, what they're doing and how to use little resources to go a long way. Because again, that's another thing that's long in the history of Dearborn is our involved neighbors in these associations. And I can't say enough about how important that is, as Council President said, neighbors looking after neighbors. Thank you to everybody who's involved, whether it's officially through a group or on your own, picking up trash on your street. I know that one neighbor ended up being hired by the city because she was picking up trash and somebody spotted her and said, hey, we're hiring people to do this. So thank you for everybody who's contributing. And come to us if you don't know who else to go to, reach out to your council members. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Herrick.
Thank you.
Okay, and a unanimous roll will be attached. Thank you. All right, before we move to the consent agenda, are there any items that any members wish to remove from the consent agenda and to discuss individually? Councilman Paris?
Yes, if I can, I think it's agenda item number 28 from the fire department. Put it back on the agenda.
So chip number 20?
28.
Which one is it? I'm sorry.
28, it's the FEMA Assistance to Firefighter Grant.
Yeah. Okay, so number 28, Mr. Clerk, shall be removed from the council consent agenda. Any other items like to be removed from the consent agenda? Okay, hearing none, Mr. Clerk, you can proceed.
Resolution in need of offer and support approving all the items on the consent agenda except for item number 28 and requesting immediate effect.
Offer and support.
Offered by Council. Okay, I'm sorry. Offered by Councilman Herrick and supported by Councilman Eno. Sorry about that. We didn't get you quick enough. All right, Mr. Clerk, can we move to the next item?
We need a roll call vote.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're correct.
Councilmember Enos?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamud?
Yes.
Councilmember Abraham?
Yes.
Councilmember Paris?
Yes.
Councilmember El Sawafi?
Yes.
Councilmember Herrick?
Yes.
Council President Sereni?
Yes.
The resolution passes. We'll now move on to item number 28, resolution by Council Members Herrick and Paris acknowledging and accepting the 2022 FEMA Assistance to Firefighters Grant and authorizing the Finance Director to recognize revenue in the amount of $796,744 in 401-00001330.09-90 account, Project X06250, and appropriate the same in 401-254-0-435.98-00 account, Project X06250, and also authorizing to transfer from the 401-2540-435.98-00 account, Capital Project Fund, to the Fire Department General Fund expenditure accounts in the amount of $314,765, and requesting immediate effect.
All right, thank you, Mr. Clerk. So the Dearborn Fire Department applied for a highly competitive FEMA Assistance to Firefighters grant in the past December. The application was approved and awarded on June 9th of this year. The total amount of the funding awarded in this grant is $876,451.12. The federal portion of the total award is $796,773.74, and the remainder is a 10% match of $79,000 by the city. The Dearborn Fire Department requested the council accept this award and authorize the finance director to allocate the funds to the appropriate fire department accounts with immediate request. And Chief, would you like to come forward on this as well?
Good evening, Fire Chief.
So Chief,
Joseph Murray.
you know that I was a big advocate of you in writing grants when I started here. And I remember still voting today for about $28,000 or $30,000 to give you an assistant to raise up one of your employees so you could actually write those. So last time, I think, it was like 11 or 20 million, 11 million over how many years?
About
Before this one.
22 million over 11 years.
$22 million over 11 years. So, you know, I was always very proud of that. It's not easy to run the fire department, run the entire day-to-day operations, and then write grants, but our chief has a PhD, very educated, and worked really hard to get this. Under the mayor's tutelage, we have a grant department, which is good, and is causing a lot of competition. Because I heard that they're very impressed that you got this award, is that correct?
A little bit. Very
Impressed?
happy, yeah.
He's always impressed.
All right. So Chief, explain to us, and for the residents, when we talked earlier, that this is a direct win because we have already, as a council, budgeted this money, and now it's a pure win that's going to go in our reserve funds.
Sure. So, yeah, as you mentioned, during our regular budget process this year, we had a sizable cost for replacement of our self-contained breathing apparatus. It's the air tanks that the firefighters use when they enter into a fire or other hazardous environment. So it's a pretty significant purchase, about $700,000 for those apparatus. It was actually the first grant I ever received as chief was for our existing SCBA's. So this is the replacement after 11 years. They lived a good life, but they are starting to have a lot of mechanical breakdowns. So this kind of also coincides with our health and wellness program as well, because these new tanks have a lot more safety features and health and wellness features for protect our firefighters from carcinogens, a lot easier to clean and easier to function with. So, and they also incorporate some radios into our face pieces, which is great. And but as you mentioned, it was all supposed to be in our budget. So this grant came through, so that will alleviate some of the burden from the general fund for to replace these. And then on top of the $700,000 for the air tanks, we also received about $120,000 for some training courses. So we're doing a health and safety officer course. We're doing some technical rescue trainings and a leadership and operations training.
Well, thank you very much, Chief. I can tell you it means a lot to the council, and I think a lot of people do understand. Some of us are a little older, 10 or 11 years doesn't seem like a lot in equipment, but in the life of equipment, it's significant. I'm sure they're well advanced equipment now, and we continue to update. We pride that on our police and fire department to have the best equipment, so we do appreciate you making our job a little easier. Any other comments or questions? Councilman Paris.
Thank you, Council President. And believe me, the reason why I wanted to bring this item back is an oversight on my part too, going back over the agenda, that I wanted this out in front because you deserve the recognition and credit for bringing this forward. So I appreciate this because it makes our firefighters safe, it makes our residents safe, our public safety initiatives. So I really appreciate coming forward with this so everybody hears about it. Thank you.
I appreciate that, and it's definitely a team effort. We had a lot of people had their hands in this to make this successful, so I appreciate it.
We appreciate it, Chief. We did have it marked at the end of the meeting to bring it up as well, but we will bring it up in another aspect as well, so hopefully you'll stick around. Appreciate it, your service as always. All right, Mr. Clerk, can we have the next item? Oh, I'm sorry, do you need a unanimous roll, right? 'Cause
Yes.
you had to offer. Okay, any objection, unanimous roll? Okay, hearing none, so is attached. Next item.
Item number 46, resolution by council members Abraham and Herrick approving the minutes of the previous regular meeting of June 13th, 2023.
Okay, are there any additions, deletions, or modification to the minutes? Hearing and seeing none, unanimous roll will be attached. Next item.
Item 47, resolution by council members Enos and Hamud approving the minutes of the previous special meeting of June 21st, 2023.
Okay, are there any additions, deletions, or modifications to these minutes? Hearing and seeing none, unanimous roll will be attached. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Item 48, resolution by council members Paris and Herrick approving the minutes of the previous special closed meeting on June 21st, 2023.
Okay, any additions, deletions, or modifications to these final minutes? Okay, hearing and seeing none, unanimous roll will be attached. Next item, please.
Item number 49, ordinance number 23-1794, an ordinance to amend the Water and Sewers Chapter 19 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Dearborn by amending Article 1, Section 19-14, entitled Water and Sewers.
Any unanimous roll will be attached to take from the table for its final reading. This is a proposed amendments to ordinance, Chapter 19, Article 1, Section 19-14, to include language that the city will restore soil grading and grass seeding after a sewer repair. The amendments to the water and sewer ordinance are as follows. The restoration of the grounds after repair shall be required, including appropriate soil grading and grass seeding where applicable, and the cost of such restoration shall be excluded from the uniform cost calculations. This is the second and final reading of this ordinance. Just a comment on this. This is something that a lot of residents really do appreciate in Dearborn that is not given out at pretty much any other city. When you have a sewer backup broken out on your yard or in your alley, before it reaches the city main trunk line, it is the resident's responsibility. But it's been a long-standing practice, well before I was here. I'm sure it was Councilman Abraham before too, I think maybe. And my mom was here. The city of Dearborn always wanted to keep the residents in a better situation, and there's rarely a gray area on where the cause and what happened there. But if it breaks on your side, you know, that's really, you're out of luck. But what we tried to do in Dearborn is we have a calculation method that we do not charge the resident the whole bill. I have seen some bills for excavation alone that were $9,000 to $10,000. So what's happening in this ordinance is not only do we do that for our resident, we go out, we dig it up, we repair it for them. They're only responsible for a very small portion of the bill. Usually it's between $2,000 to $3,000. But a lot of times they were left with a big mound of soil and so on and so forth. And a lot of residents that are seniors, it took them longer and more to fix that than the actual damage. So I brought this up during budget as well. My colleagues agreed with me. So we are now going to make sure that that is done and get it completely done for the residents so that they can get back to living and having their sewers running properly. So any questions or comments on this item? And Mr. Roman, you have that because we had in the backup excluded from the calculation.
It is excluded from the calculation.
Okay, and Jackie, you have that for our no school check. All right, any other questions or comments on this item? Okay, Mr. Clerk, can we have the final reading?
This is the final reading of ordinance number 23-1794, an ordinance to amend the Water and Sewers Chapter 19 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Dearborn by amending Article 1, Section 19-14, entitled Waters and Sewers.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, let's see here. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Hamud.
Yes.
Councilmember Abraham.
Yes.
Councilmember Paris.
Yes.
Councilmember El Sawafi.
Yes.
Councilmember Herrick.
Yes.
Council President Sereni.
Yes.
Councilmember Enos.
Yes.
7 yeas, the ordinance passes.
All right, next item, Mr. Clerk.
Item number 50, ordinance number 23-1795, introduced by Councilmember Hamud. Synopsis, an ordinance to amend the Animals Chapter 4 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Dearborn by amending Article 2, Section 4-23, entitled License Required.
Okay, the city's existing animal ordinance currently has no limit on the number of dogs a resident may possess in their home. The proposed revision amend the dog licensing ordinance to limit the number of dogs to a person, would limit it and would only allow own, possess, or shelter or keep animals to maintain, no more than 3 that are 6 months or older of the age. The limit would apply at or within any one residence dwelling or legal property boundary. An exception is included for duly licensed, of course, pet shops, kennels, veterinarians, hospitals, dog care situations, and of course, another actually kennel, we got several dog cares, and boarding facilities, that was the last one. All right, so this violation will remain as a civil infraction, and the fines will increase or for repeated fines up to until the third offense, which it will become a misdemeanor, which would be encompass of a $500 fine and or 90 days in jail. This is the first of 2 readings. I do want to make mention on this before I open it with my colleagues or comments. This has never been memorialized in our ordinance, but in the past, in speaking to the animal shelter, which I met with, and I think all of my colleagues have, we asked for their input. They sent us some information, but I've also met with them. In the past, the city didn't have this ordinance, but they have another ordinance that says if you have more than 3 dogs, you are now a kennel. So the ordinance enforcement used to use that as the basis. So this actually just brings it into a more specific code. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? Councilman Herrick?
I appreciate that you talked to the animal shelter because I know that we had postponed this in order for you to do so. Was the language changed as a result of that conversation with the animal shelter, or did we all come to agreement that it was just reinforcing what they were already doing?
Yeah, in fact, it's a great question. No, the ordinance was not changed. In fact, they were the people that had indicated to me that that was the standard in the past, that was their opinion, and there was their new president and very familiar faces there, Mrs. Green, that said that in the past they would enforce it when it's more than 3 because of the kennel ordinance. So they're the ones that brought it up to me, and then we researched it. But we gave them plenty enough time, too. They sent us a letter, and it was provided to all council. Everybody get it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, about the situations and with the dogs in the households. But again, I really believe that this was the way it was being enforced, and so does the animal shelter in the past. So we just want to memorialize and make sure that no more than 3 dogs per household. Any other, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So, Mr. Clerk, do we need the first of 2 readings?
Yes.
Okay, let me see, is there anyone from the public to speak on this? Okay, Mr. Clerk, go ahead and proceed.
This is the first reading of ordinance number 23-1795, an ordinance to amend the Animals Chapter 4 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Dearborn by amending Article 2, Section 4-23, entitled License Required. Resolution by Council Members Herrick and Enos to table the ordinance.
Okay, and a unanimous roll will be attached unless there are any objections, so is attached. Next item, please.
Item 51, resolution by Council Members Enos and Hamud authorizing the Finance Director to process the addition of the new full-time position and title of Workforce Development and Outreach Manager in the ENA salary plan with a starting rate of $74,822, which has been included in the 2023-24 budget and requesting immediate effect.
Okay, so this request is to add the new position title of Workforce Development Outreach Manager to the ENA salary plan. This position reports directly to the Deputy Director of Economic Development and will lead a Workforce Development Initiatives Division within the Economic Development Department and will be responsible for establishing, designing, implementing, and managing workforce development initiatives and partnerships aimed at recruiting and retaining Dearborn residents to meet local and regional labor force needs. The manager serves as the principal for the Dearborn City representative on all matters related to workforce development, primary liaison to the city departments, and to regional and state partners on workforce development, industry, and educational programs and priorities. The salary for the position is $74,822. Immediate effect is being requested, and the position and title was approved by the Civil Service Commission on May 11th of 2023. Any questions or comments on this item? Mayor?
Thank you, Council President. I'll speak to some of the background on this matter. So one, we secured a grant through our congressional partners for $1 million, which will begin to draw down, I think, August, and hopefully receive the funds in the fall. We submitted with a partnership with a local nonprofit. The grant will actually allow us to support women entrepreneurs throughout the city of Dearborn who might need some seed funding to get their business started, to overcome some barriers. So we're super excited for that. Also, working with the nonprofit, we'll be providing on-job training, partnering them with some mentor-mentee programs, and so super excited to get that rolled out more than likely for 2024. So the workforce development manager will work on this program. The funding will obviously be backfilled once this grant is received the first few years. More so, if you talk to a lot of employers, one of the reasons, or the two top reasons for why employers might select the city, one is infrastructure and number two is talent. And we in the city of Dearborn are uniquely positioned with a K-14 school system. We have a plethora of talent, but sometimes we don't do the best of jobs in really selling the city to these employers. And so what we're trying to do and what we've been doing with the staff that we have in kind of a fractured manner is working with a lot of major employers and a lot of educational institutions in our backyard to try to begin to construct several career pathways for Dearborn residents of today and tomorrow. And so this position will hopefully consolidate all those efforts into one individual. And we're seeing some promising, God willing, workforce development pathways be constructed here in the city of Dearborn. There might be one of one, first of its kind. And so we're excited for those potential announcements. But having a person dedicated on this would be extremely beneficial. And obviously, we're fortunate to have the grant that we received from our congressional partners that will come down this fall and winter.
Thank you very much, Mayor. And this is the first of its kind for us in Dearborn, is that correct?
Correct, but if you follow like a lot of major cities, almost every major city across America has a workforce team that's dedicated on these issues to make sure that their residents have future opportunities. Because the reality is, right now, if you look at the numbers, 25% of our residents work and live in Dearborn. 75% work outside of Dearborn. The majority of our residents work within 22 minutes of Dearborn. And so our goal is to try to make sure that employers are locating themselves near Dearborn as closely as possible, but that we're working with our K-14 system to make sure that our students are receiving the education that they need for those jobs of tomorrow.
Yeah, Mayor, absolutely. I'm in full support of this. That's why I wanted to mention it, that this is the first time we've done it in Dearborn. We are the seventh largest city or the eighth largest city, seventh largest city in the state of Michigan. And this is important. Yes, and the largest school district. Third largest school district? Okay, great. So for me, I always wondered why we didn't. We would rely on a lot of, I worked in Detroit for many, many years where, of course, they have one. But we were, a lot of times, we are relying on the nonprofits and the smaller nonprofits, really, they all are nonprofits, in order to help the residents. Bringing this inside as to the government, I think, is a good move, and I'm glad the civil service also agreed with it.
You know what, just one more point.
Yeah.
Our goal is to not be the ones who deliver the workforce training.
Right.
Our goal is to be the ones who coordinate with all the stakeholders, the employers, the nonprofits, the social service institutions, to make sure we're delivering the adequate training to make sure people are equipped for the job of tomorrow. One perfect example with the Google partnership is we're working with Access Now.
Right.
We have 500 Google certifications that we're going to be given in classroom settings. Our team has been working hand in hand with Access and with Google to begin the delivery of those certification courses coming up hopefully this fall. We're working with some other governmental agencies as well. You have some nonprofits that are in the workforce space, but what they do sometimes is maybe just provide funding for apprenticeships or internships. And so we need something a little bit more robust to make the coordination happen across all of the stakeholders.
Absolutely, appreciate it. Any questions or comments on this item? All right, Council, sir, would you like to address the council? Please step up here. Just a kind reminder, state your name and address for the record, and you have a 3-minute time constraint as well.
Hassan Beydoun, 7401 Schaefer. That's a beautiful proposal for the helping of businesses by women. But what would that fall under if someone, let's say someone wants to identify as a woman? Does that apply as well or no? Like to anyone just wants to identify as a woman? What's a woman is my question. And who can this money support?
Mayor, you want me to address that?
I think my response is I'm not here to answer hypothetical
it's a real question.
about. I don't think it is a real question. I think
It is, but this is a bill to support women, correct? There's going to be funds that women want to own a business, but who is a woman, or what is a woman, and what kind of money can they support? What is a woman, and who will this money go to?
Yeah, I think at this point we're going to focus our efforts on what's actually before us and not ask all the hypothetical questions that come before us.
Logical question, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments on this item? Okay, hearing and seeing none, unanimous will be attached. Next item.
Item number 52, resolution by council members Herrick and El Sawafi, authorizing the Economic Development Department to amend the 2020 Wayne County Home Consortia Agreement by increasing the budget allocation in the amount of $766,276 to add new housing construction activity and requesting immediate effect.
Okay, this request is to authorize the Economic Development Department to amend their 2020 Wayne County Home Program agreement to include a new housing construction activity in anticipation of such projects. The additional amount requested is $566,276. Based on the preliminary information provided by the lead entity, the funds will be allocated in two forms: new housing construction, including development and affordable housing for low and moderate income households, and homeowner rehabilitation, which provides assistance for income qualified residents for compensation and rehabilitation of their home. And this is being requested for immediate effect. Any questions or comments on this? Do we have Director Torty here? Or maybe the mayor could speak on this too? Yeah, if you can, Mayor, yeah. If you like, I just wanted to give some more light on this. I know we talked about it a little bit, and I just want the residents to know there's two facets of it. So if you just state your name.
Sure, absolutely. Jordan Torty, Director of Economic Development.
Yeah, so Mr. Torty, we've had this program a long time through Wayne County, but if you could just explain a little bit about the rehabilitation aspect, because that's always been something that I have been contacted by from residents, and just wanted to see how's it going at this point.
Absolutely. So, as you mentioned, we've had these funds for a long time. The home consortium is something we're a part of with Wayne County. Cities in Wayne County get this funding from the federal government. We use it primarily for home rehab. So we have a program. If you go to the Economic Development Department section of the website, we have some information on there. You can also just reach out to us, and we can explain any of the programs that any of the requirements if folks are interested in that. It is income-based, just like most programs that come through HUD. That's what it's targeted toward, areas that are low and moderate income as defined by HUD. So there's all kinds of regulations that are super long and fun to read that we can explain with you and help people. We'll make the bureaucracy easy of it if you are interested or if you think you may qualify. The repairs have a lot to do with they're code related. So if you have issues that are code violations or ADA accessibility or complying with any other federal regulations, again, like such as ADA, these will help you with that. We have been processing applications for this program steadily still. We are also in the process of filling a home rehab inspector position to support those activities. This item here is for a new activity that'll be part of that. It's eligible under home, but it'd be new for us.
Yeah.
It would be the potential construction of new housing units.
Thank you, Mr. Torty. I appreciate that. I did want to highlight that. I know this particular aspect is more geared toward the construction of new homes, but I just want to give you a scenario that I've come across a few times, and just want to make sure this is the same program, because I think this is another thing that separates Dearborn apart. So we have had residents in the past that maybe been in their homes for 50, 60 years. They've done right, retired, paid their bills, and might be in a situation where their house is paid for and they have a roof that was damaged from a tree, and they don't have the funds to fix it. So this program, am I correct, will help them fix that. And Mr. Romer, just to make sure I'm on the right track, this also has where they have no payments and a lien would be placed against their property when they do sell. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Mr. Romer, yes? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because this is something I brought up for my colleagues as well, too. So many years ago, under my mom's term, this program, of course, was still going on. And there was a snapshot in time where after 20 years, that balance would be forgiven. I know that's not the case today, because I'm fairly aware with it now. But they would have no payments due, no interest assessed. When they do sell their home, then the lien would be attached and they would have to pay it. So I'm just going to put it on the radar for the mayor that I know we need the funds to keep going back into the program to keep helping residents. But it's something to think about for my colleagues and mayor to put, I used to say it, top of mind when you first started? Top of mind, that we might want to find a way that after a 20-year time or so, we could forgive that balance, because I believe that we have repaid it to the program. But I want the residents to know this is available to them. A lot of residents do not know this. And it is for emergency repairs. We do also vet the contractors to send them out, correct?
Yes.
Right. So it is a great program. So if you have a neighbor that is in need and fits these qualifications and has something that needs something as a roof or a window that's blown out, or maybe even a water tank or so on, that needs that help, they should contact our economic development department.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. Any other questions or comments from my colleagues? Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Torrey. And again, Mr. Clerk, immediate effect was being requested?
Yes.
Okay. Hearing and seeing no objection, unanimous roll be attached. Next item.
Stay up close.
Item number 53, resolution by council members Herrick and Paris, awarding a contract to Beck Beckett and Rader, Inc., most responsive and responsible proposal in the total amount of $621,758, which includes a 10% contingency for a master land use plan and requesting immediate effect.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Okay, the Michigan Planning and Zoning Enabling Acts require the municipalities maintain a current master land use plan, which outlines the city's land use goals and community priorities. Our current plan has not been updated since 2014. This project will meet those statutory obligations as well as conduct targeted strategic planning based on priorities identified by the residents, business community, community organizations, the administration, of course, and the city council. The boards of our 4 business districts as well, and other stakeholders that seem fit. The cost of the contract is $621,758, including in the contract of $565,234 is also a 10% contingency regarding that. The funding exists from previous approved CPI projects and are available through ARPA funding targeted for the downtown economic development departments. The plan is estimated to be completed within 24 months. Deliverables and process updates will be scheduled throughout the project period. Any questions or comments on this item? Councilman Hamud?
So I'm not sure if my colleagues also want to comment on this. We've been talking about this for a little while now, the master plan update, and so I think this is going to be one of the most drawn out and impactful things that we're going to do as a council, to be honest with all of you. For me personally, ever since my days of playing City Skylines, I think this is going to be a lot of fun for me. But I think to put a finer point on this, I think it's going to be very important for the financial resiliency of the city and to see the long-term strategy that our administration envisions along with the contractors we're going to work with. And there's going to be a lot of input throughout the whole process. And I kind of want to allow Director Twardy to talk a little bit more about that, but I'm going to put a finer point on my exact question, and then maybe we can get a little bit more about the community input aspects, because I think that's something really important that I actually read through the full RFP responses, both this one and some of the other ones we received. I think the team we're going with is very qualified, and what I appreciated also is that it's all one team. We're going to be working with a team that our ECD department is familiar with, and I think that it's important that they have trust with the contractors that we're going to be going forward with. So now my specific question, to put a point on it before we continue, is just in regards to the municipal resilience strategy aspect of the RFP. So just looking at the capital improvement plan, which is kind of what's written in the current RFP, is a fine approach, and just in my personal opinion, it's kind of like the ABCs of what you would do. What I'd really like to see, and I think that you guys are able to do this, but I have to articulate it for you guys, which is I want to see kind of a full assessment of how different development styles for both new and existing projects can affect our budget annually. So that's not actually articulated in the RFP scope or the RFP response that we received. I just want to make sure that that's a commitment on the part of you guys and from the contractors that we're going to be hiring to ensure we can kind of get something like that. So to kind of give an example on that, I didn't see any cost of service actually specifically called out in the municipal resilience strategy. So an example there would be like a big box store. Let's say Meyer wants to look at a parcel of land and ask for a rezoning. What I'd really like to see is a way for the city to assess our entire scope of what that would cost taxpayers or whether it would benefit taxpayers. So while it might look like a net positive on tax revenue, when you actually take into account infrastructure, maintenance, police, and fire that are required for a property like that, it could be a net loss, meaning that city taxpayers would be on the hook to subsidize a business that's not even from here to allow them to conduct business. So it's my opinion that a group like the City Council or even the Planning Commission is entitled to understand the actual hard fiscal impact that different projects and different development styles can affect a city. And I think for a very long time, the city has been making a lot of choices that end up putting us into a poor financial position, partially because of the way our development style is. I mean, a lot of people earlier today were asking about how, why were services so much better when I was a kid? Well, when you were a kid, there were also illegal taxation practices that we got a judgment against us back in the 90s. So, if you look at our annual budget, it's been shrinking for years. So I think this is the type of plan that's going to help us it's going to help bring us back on track and allow us to actually grow the budget going into the future. So
Excellent.
I think
Is there a
this is a good
question on that
My question just has to do with, what I'd like to hear from ECD is two things. One, if they could elaborate a little bit more about our community development strategy and how that's central to the master plan from what I read, but I'd like to hear it from you guys. And the second thing is just how you plan to capture kind of the topic that I just brought up in regards to municipal resilience. So.
Excellent, thank you, Councilman Huda. And just to add a little to that, I mean, I think in my tenure, I was very vocal regarding the master plan. And Mr. Romer, I think you can acknowledge this, that there is a lot of statutory requirements for this master plan that they lean on. So it is very important. The council was not included in the last one. So I am pleased that the mayor is including us, because there is funding mechanisms. There's also statutory law that requires you to have the master plan and has to be consistent with the master plan. So you're absolutely right. Mr. Torti, would you like to elaborate a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Council President. Councilman, yes. So just in brief, just to kind of, I'll start in reverse. So that to the question, yes, I would say we're fully committed to making sure that one of the deliverables in this process and how we built it in through the kickoff process. You know, one of the things that Mayor Hammoud is really focused on is data-driven decisions. And so in that same vein and in that same spirit, one of the things we're going to do is make sure that we have a toolkit here that allows you to have those data-driven decisions when you're determining different types of land use, especially for discretionary approvals. How we'll manifest that in this kickoff specifically, there's also one of the deliverables, and I'm looking down just because I'm looking at the page. I want to get the page number right. Page 45 of Beckett Rader's response. If you look at the, and this is for folks that want to dive into this, the Economic Development Incentive Evaluation Standards, that tool, we're going to use that framework to expand that out citywide, to just be able to have, because what that tool is going to do, whenever we want, when folks come, not only for rezonings, if they want a tax abatement of some kind, some other kind of incentive to relax restrictions or in any other way for us to invest in a project, that tool is going to be a rubric that says, what is our ROI? This process will help us define what we mean by ROI. The steering committee that's going to be formed as part of this process is going to help us and be sort of the conscience of that process to make sure we all agree on what that ROI should be, what are the metrics, how do we define them, and how do we determine what success is. That tool, we'll look at it, as written on that page, is specifically for incentives. But we're going to apply that approach overall to just development and land use policy in general. So we'll be working with the steering committee to flesh that out throughout the process, but we are committed to making sure that the leadership of this city can make those decisions, and that's just in keeping with the vision that the mayor has set out for this process. Kind of backing into that first question, so as you asked about the overall community development strategy, in my career in economic development and planning, these documents can be one of two things. They can be a lot of fluff that sits on a shelf or somewhere in some website and really doesn't mean a whole lot, and kind of you can check the box and comply with the state, or it can be the bedrock for everything that you focus on, the things that you go get funding for. I'm hoping that as part of this, I can give the fire chief a run for his money and getting some grants.
That's good.
We were pretty successful in that. In my previous town of Ferndale, we did this religiously every 5 years. The process took about 14 months. What I really appreciate about the way the mayor has set this up and the way, based on council's feedback so far, has been encouraging about this is we're not just doing the core requirements. We're looking at doing one study and being done. So part of this effort and part of the strategy is the things that you all know as leaders and the community has given us as residents. The things we kind of know are priorities. We want to make sure we dive deep in those, whether it's transportation, whether it's looking at Warren Avenue, whether it's looking at our business districts. One plan, having it done, and having our punch list of activities that are aimed at specific priorities that address the values of the community. And that's why engagement is such a heavy part of it. We want that buy-in. We want to have the credibility to say that when we say this is a value and this is a project that serves that value, it has that buy-in of this process. So this is really meant to be a focal point for everything that our department, when we structure our operations, when we prioritize tasks and put together funding requests, that will feed into this. And things like the CIP process, capital improvement planning, and working with the finance department to prioritize those projects through the administration. All of that will sort of feed into the research and the community engagement and the recommendations that are crafted through this document. Sorry, that was a lot.
Oh, it's okay. All right, Mr. Torti, thank you very much. Councilman Hammoud, I appreciate it.
Like a passionate guy in there.
That's right. Well, we can appreciate that. Councilman Hammoud, since you've been here, since you've been here as far as the engineering, and I had you sit on the OHM originally on our sewer study, before. So I do agree that, hope, I think we had a council member who used to say, hope is a bad plan. And I agree with them. We really need a real plan, and so we don't have this, and I'm glad that you had the expertise from where you were at, doing it every 14 months. So we're well overdue, and even though 14 and now is 8 years, a lot has changed in that time frame. So we look forward to it and the input from the council as well. Any other questions or comments from my colleagues? Mr. Torti, thank you very much. Sir, would you like to come forward? Yeah. Just state your name.
Yeah, my name is Jackson Wagner. I'm a Dearborn resident. On that subject, I think that having a good land use plan is important. I think that when it comes to urban development, economic development, infrastructure, this is a very holistic issue, and I think that the city should consider not just improving how it approaches land use, but to consider revamping the entire way the city approaches zoning from the ground up, and to consider what tools the city has tax-wise. My personal recommendation, and I didn't come with a whole PowerPoint today, but my recommendation would be that the city look into land value taxation and split rate taxation. There is a very long track record, a lot of empirical data backing the efficacy of land value tax, and split rate is kind of a compromise between land value tax and traditional property tax. If you shift the tax burden off of improvements and onto the land itself, you generate incentives to develop that land to its highest and best use. You are more likely to align land uses, by adding that price signal to the economy, to the market. You are more likely to hit your return on investment goals when you're doing your urban planning, and it's much more sustainable. You have positive feedback loops where public investments, public goods that have high Keynesian multipliers will pay for themselves, not just in the wider economy, but for the government budget, for the local government budget. And so there are a range of a lot of empirical data on this. Pennsylvania uses split rate taxation in many of its municipalities, including Philadelphia, I think, Pittsburgh. And then very recently, Detroit is adopting split rate taxation. So I cannot urge more strongly the city should consider this.
Yeah, just one second. Yeah, I'm going to let you, Mayor, absolutely. But just one second. No, I appreciate it, Mr. Wagner. There was an article very recently that spoke about your exact elements there of how we can do the taxation, and I do believe Detroit is adopting it. So I'd like the mayor to speak on it.
Yeah, so thank you for your comments. I think the best person for you to speak to right now is sitting in the front row. Detroit's proposal is actually a legislative proposal.
Okay.
And so they're trying to get the state legislature to permit them to then have a local referendum. And so the way the legislation is drafted is they want to do a split tax. If Lansing approves, then Detroit would go to a vote of the people. Every municipality would have that option. We have not conducted an actuarial assessment of what that means for the city of Dearborn. I think I'm kind of leaving it to my legislators at this point in time to evaluating the legislative proposal. And if ever it doesn't make it across the finish line, for us to then begin to examine it for ourselves. But I think the proposal is good because it allows for local control.
Yes.
Every city gets to decide for itself. I'm not sure how it weighs out for the city of Dearborn. But as of right now, Rep. Burns, it's all yours.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Wagner.
And let me know if I can be of assistance in the future.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, any other comments or questions on this item? Councilwoman Herrick?
As the master plan development gets underway, I know that there are lots of opportunities for public to give input. That's part of the process. And so I hope that folks that are as informed and passionate as Mr. Wagner is, participate in those opportunities. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Okay, any other questions or comments on item 53? Okay, hearing and seeing none, a unanimous roll will be attached. Next item.
Item 54, resolution by Council Members Herrick and Paris, awarding a competitive contract to Spalding D. Decker Associates, Inc. in the amount of $50,000 for the transportation equity study for the South End Salina community and requesting immediate effect.
Okay, purchasing on behalf of Economic and Community Development Department recommends a competitive purchase of planning and engineering services for preparation of a transportation equity study for Southeast Dearborn from Spalding and Decker Associates. The contract will be divided into 3 separate phases. The city of Dearborn was awarded a competitive 2022 SEMCOG South End Transportation study grant in the amount of $32,740. The total cost of the study will be $50,000, which will come from our, for phase one, which will come from, the balance will come from our general fund. The primary focus of the study is to identify the existing policies and regulations, federal, state, local, that govern truck operations and identification of truck routes in southeast Dearborn based on appropriate criteria. The study will recommend specific truck routes, gross vehicle weight ratings, and the study should provide us with a basis for Dearborn commercial vehicles and truck regulations through our ordinances and resolutions so that a commercial industry areas within the study can be served fairly and prohibiting vehicles trucking to be used on certain roadways within the residential area. This is phase one, expected to be completed no later than December 31st of this year. If funding secured, phase 2 and 3 will be completed before June of 30th of 2024. And Mayor, did you want to touch base on this? I know this was a big deal, so.
Yeah, I think, we heard from a lot of residents in the south end about some of the truck traffic routes abutting the residential neighborhoods. And so we took action as a council and as an administrative body to kind of ban truck traffic on Eagle Street. We then secured a grant. I think grant is the word of the night from
That's right.
SEMCOG. And so that's what this is. And so we put out the bid and we secured a contractor who's going to come help us with the master planning for truck traffic routes in the south end. And so we thank SEMCOG for the grant, and we had a small match that was needed for the grant, $8,000. But it's going to be very promising, I think, for the residents, particularly in the south end, especially in a heavy industrialized area. So this could be a strong phase one.
Absolutely, Mayor. I do appreciate it. I know that the residents, myself, I lived in the south end, and I know that the barriers are significant there. So I think this is tremendous because it's going to give us a real look at regulations that we can actually enforce. And Mayor, with the industrialization and the new bridge coming through, this is only going to be a bigger problem if we're not ahead of it.
Absolutely. I think it's extremely important that we work wisely. Obviously, the truck traffic study will consider all the roads throughout south end of Dearborn, so city, state, county, and so we can work with our local government partners as well once we receive the findings of the report, to also share it with them to see if there might be alternatives that can help improve the public health and the quality for residents.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Any other questions or comments? Councilman Paris.
Just real briefly, thank you, Council President. I just wanted to emphasize something that the Council President made, is that the Gordie Howe Bridge, there was at one time, which you're fully aware of, the intermodal transportation plan, the land banking that we've been doing in that Wyoming and Michigan Avenue area, and what we foresee in the future. Is that also going to be a consideration of this plan, working hand in hand with Detroit? Because I don't know if Detroit's on board or not any longer with that intermodal plan that we no longer want to go forward with.
I don't have an answer for you on that particular matter. I haven't had conversations with Detroit on this particular issue, but I think if I hear anything from them, I'm happy to relay it back to council.
The only reason why I'm bringing it up is because we're talking about heavy trucks in our community.
Correct.
And then if Detroit goes ahead and starts having all this traffic from the Gordie Howe Bridge, it's going to impact us also. How people are going to seek the easiest route they can to be able to get through either an industrialized, commercial, or residential area. So I think it's really important, too, to have contact with Detroit.
Absolutely. I think from the last meeting, I understand there might not be as much truck traffic from the Gordie Howe Bridge through Dearborn, which is a positive.
Good.
But obviously, we're taking the measure of acquiring some of the parcels along the truck thoroughfare itself to create a green buffer between what could be an industrial thoroughfare and the residential neighborhood, is why the council's been a strong partner in that effort, and why we continue to acquire parcels like you see in the agenda, Eugene Porth Way. When we first came in, I think council's aware and the public might be aware as well. Some of the land that the city had owned, these large swaths, were actually slated for sale to become blacktopped and be trucking parking lots or to give way to some sort of centers that bring a lot of truck traffic. We halted those sales because we didn't think that there was a public health benefit to the residents, especially in an area where pollution is the #1 concern. And so I think council's been a strong supporter of some of the work that we've done, and hopefully this is a further continuation of that effort. But I'll relay back if I do hear anything from my Detroit counterparts.
Well, I do appreciate it. And Mayor, and for us, I think for the council, I think the ordinances are very important because we know we have a full commitment of you and your administration of enforcing it. As we've seen earlier this year when there was enforcements and even lawsuits I've seen more people cleaning up and doing what they were supposed to do on those roadways than ever before. I think for me, what's exciting is that us to be able to use state and federal regulations to craft real ordinances that can actually be enforced, because the damage that is being done on these roads from these heavy and overweight, if they're overweight trucks, are a disservice to our residents, and we have to be fair by using the law. But this will definitely give us the right direction and give us a model way to go forward. So I do look forward to it. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing and seeing none, a unanimous roll be attached. Next item.
Item 55, resolution by council members Paris and Hamud awarding a contract to Competitive Network Management, most responsive and responsible proposal in the amount of $504,740 for installation of outdoor Wi-Fi systems at Camp Dearborn. Also authorizing a contingency in the amount of $25,237 and authorizing the IT project manager to execute all change orders and modifications that utilize the all-approved contingency and requesting immediate effect.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The Parks and Recreation team would like to install outdoor public accessible Wi-Fi infrastructure for Camp Dearborn guests. The solution will provide coverage for approximately 14,300,000 square feet of the property. Sorry. It should say acres, but it has square feet, so I was trying to convert it, but didn't have enough time. So Camp Dearborn is pretty big. And accommodate 4,000 wireless endpoints. This solution will provide our guests with Wi-Fi access and additional amenities that have not been provided before. It's recommended that award the contract to a competitive to network management for Wi-Fi systems of the Camp Dearborn. The contract total is $540,740. The contingency will be placed at 5%, which is $25,237 for unforeseen conditions. It is also requested that the IT project manager be utilized to execute all change orders and modifications to utilize all approved contingency. Immediate effect is being requested as well, so they can start as soon as possible. Any questions or comments on this item?
And I guess I'll speak after Councilman.
Yeah, Councilman
No,
Hamud?
you can go
No,
first, that's fine.
Councilman Hamud?
All right. So I did have the opportunity to review this RFP as well, and I do have to give my props to Director Shadha and the team for scoring this appropriately well. Actually, funny enough, I think this was the lowest bid of any of the contractors, and even at the lower price, when I actually reviewed some of the hardware and the actual requirements that they laid out, we're getting an extremely good product. I think the hardware is also, it's better than what I have at my house. I can't promise connectivity because I would never do that with Wi-Fi, but what I can promise you is I think our IT team has been working very closely with this contractor for a little while. It's a very efficient solution that I think will last in the longer term, and if they need to replace some stuff, it all works together. So I think it's a very, you have to give a lot of credit when your team goes out and finds the most efficient solution and then comes back with actually a low price, and it's very clear that they put a lot of effort into this. So, and it's a very detailed proposal. When you see some of the other ones, it was very clearly kind of like cookie cutter, or like they just kind of copy pasted a bunch of circles on a map. This contractor has shown that they actually are very intimately familiar. You know, we heard about it in Cow, but like you don't believe it until you actually look at the proposal. So actually, it's a very good proposal for myself. So good job, guys.
Do appreciate it. And before I turn over to the mayor, at our committee of the whole, we did have IT here and speak on how many times this company visited Camp Dearborn to make sure that they got the bid accurate and correct. And I think most of us, no matter how long you've been on the council, has realized that the lowest bid is not always the best bid. So this is actually a win on both sides. So we look forward to it. I think it's going to be a great aspect for Camp Dearborn and another reinvestment in our Parks and Recreation. Mayor?
Another reinvestment, thanks to another grant. I think that's another great word to say is grant. We received $2 million when I was state rep. Was able to secure a Camp Dearborn grant before I departed. The $2 million, obviously a portion is being allocated to the Wi-Fi, a portion being allocated to some of the beautification efforts at Camp Dearborn, as well as the master planning of Camp Dearborn. So we just had the council agenda item for a master planning of the city of Dearborn, but we also have one running in parallel right now that's active with Spicer Group for Camp Dearborn. And I know that council, residents, as well as the administration are going to be meeting with Spicer Group. A survey is actually out online. I know it's been shared by some council members, so thank you. But we're hopefully trying to bring life back to Camp Dearborn. I think you're going to be very happy to see the financial numbers for Camp Dearborn this year, or this closing of the books. But we've really been seeing a turnaround of Camp 75th anniversary.
Yes.
And so what a way to kick off the reinvestment in Camp Dearborn to make sure that our families for generations to come can still enjoy that slice of heaven in Milford.
That's right. Thank you very much, Mayor. Any other questions or comments on this item? Okay, hearing and seeing none, unanimous will be attached. Next item, please.
Item number 56, resolution by Council Member Herrick in need of support, awarding a one-year contract with 4 one-year renewal options to Clark Hill PLC and Dickerson Wright PLLC, most responsive and responsible proposal for labor law services in the combined amount of $150,000 annually and requesting immediate effect.
All right, the city currently has a total of 9 labor unions and administrative 3 salary plans. Will cover approximately 750 full-time employees. And additionally, it has approximately 625 part-time and seasonal employees as well. Outside labor counsel is periodically engaged to assist in the in-house counsel, legal counsel on specialized employment matters and/or defend various labor and employment claims in state and federal courts as directed by the city. The evaluation team, on behalf of the legal department recommends authorize a contract to provide law services with Clark Hill PLC and Dickerson Wright PLLC for a one-year period with 4 one-year renewals. And assignments to each firm will be provided by Corporation Counsel as a as-needed basis. The combined value of the contracts is $150,000 annually. The 2 firms are the highest rated proposed submitted, and the council has requested to authorize this award and renew the options. I know at the committee of the whole, I asked several questions, and we did receive the answers back from our legal department. I have been, from my tenure on council, trying to keep in-house legal counsel. We have a good staff, and under Mr. Romer's tenure, we have reduced that significantly. I think the last 2 years, am I correct to say about $20,000 was used out of this amount?
That's correct.
Yeah, so it's sparingly used. There was, in the time where we were using outside counsel for many aspects, which I didn't feel was right. So I do appreciate that, appreciate the information that was brought forward as I requested. So I will add my name to the support, it needed the support, correct?
Okay?
Okay. Any other questions or comments on this? Okay, hearing and seeing none, unanimous will be attached. Next item.
Item 57, resolution by Council Members Herrick and Paris, acknowledging a donation in the amount of $628 from a resident, Septina Bibziaka, for the purchase of a replacement park bench at the Dearborn High School tot lot. Also authorizing the finance director to recognize and appropriate the donation in fiscal year 2023, Recreation and Parks Department, and requesting immediate effect.
Thank you very much. So Ms. Bizaka has made a generous donation in the amount of $628 to Parks and Recreation Department for replacement of park bench that was damaged from a car accident at the Dearborn tot lot. We'd like to recognize her for this donation. We asked her to come out today, but unfortunately she could not make it to be recognized. These are the things that separates Dearborn apart. For a lady to write a check for a park bench is what makes Dearborn what it is today. So for the council, we would like to recognize her and thank her very much for her generous donation and the donation to be appropriated with immediate effect. Any questions or comments on this item? Hearing and seeing none. Next item, please.
Item number 58, resolution by Council Members Abraham and Enos, authorizing the mayor to enter into a 5-year lease agreement with 2 5-year renewal options with Dearborn Hills Banquet and Restaurant LLC on behalf of the city for operations at the Dearborn Hills Golf Course Banquet Facility, subject to certain stipulations, and also authorizing the Parks and Recreation Director to execute any documents on behalf of the mayor and requesting immediate effect.
Okay, an RFP, request for proposal, was posted on February 17th and closed on March 31st of 2023. The agreement is for a 5-year lease with 2 5-year renewal options. The operation will assume all responsibilities of the banquet side of the Dearborn Hills Golf House, included renovations and operations to reopen as a restaurant that operates year-round. The tenant will be responsible for monthly rents and sales commissions once the restaurant becomes fully operational on April 1st. Whichever date comes first. Immediate effect is being requested. Any questions or comments on this item? Step forward, sir.
Good evening again. Zahir Abdelhaq, 354 Rosemary, Dearborn Heights. I'm trying to understand how the process worked to award this contract. I don't know who got it. in Dearborn Heights, we awarded our golf course to somebody. I just want to understand, what was the process you followed in order to award this? Did the city fix anything inside the golf course in the banquet? Did the city give any money to this contractor to fix things? And how much is the rent you get in? Is there anything from the liquors, anything from the green? How this works? I would
Okay.
like to know in the public, you know.
Okay,
maybe
Mr. Abdul
we'll
Haq, I'm gonna
benefit
turn
from
over
it.
for the mayor to explain it to you, but I just wanna make sure everybody understands what we're talking about. In Dearborn Heights, the golf course was turned over. The golf course in the city of Dearborn is not turned over. It's operated by the city. This is the clubhouse inside of the golf course, which is in a flood area. And my estimates is 25% of the time, it's flooded down there. So, to me, I thought this was a great idea to outsource it, to renovate it, and have somebody else operate it, because I don't think we're very good at running restaurants. But the golf course is not subbed out, so I'd like to turn over to the mayor, if that's accurate, what I
Of course.
indicated.
Thank you, Council
Please,
President.
ma'am. Thank you.
Mr. Abdul Haq. So, a few things. One, yes, we insourced the operation of the golf course. That was previously outsourced. We insourced it when we came in. Right now, we're operating a 9-hole, not an 18-hole, because we're still fixing up our greens. And we're also commencing a major Rouge River cleanup project for log jams, and that's gonna cause some damage to the actual course. What we decided to do was in evaluating the contract that we had previously, that was the chef at the Dearborn Hills Golf Course, and the fact that it was not operational 12 months out of the year, we decided to outsource what we're not good at. And so we put it out for bid in February. I think it was posted for a little over 5 weeks, maybe 6 weeks.
Yeah, through March 31st.
Correct. And so what we did was we solicited bids. We actually required an on-site visit. And so if you wanted to bid for this project, we wanted you to come look at the facility itself. You can't just bid for it without ever looking at the actual banquet center. The city is not putting up any dollars for renovations. In fact, the contractor that the vendor that was selected will be investing $250,000 to $300,000 to improve the banquet center. There's no match from the city in any capacity. We're collecting $3,500 a month in rent, plus 5% of all revenues. And so that's 5% of everything off the top, not profits. So,
Not to profit or profit.
no, this is 5% of revenue. In addition, the vendor also assumes all utility expenses and all expenses of the parcel. And so we're also not paying any of the electric or the water bills for that particular banquet center, as well as the management of the staff for like the bar cart that goes out for people who are golfing. This vendor will also assume all those staff expenses and assumes all responsibilities and liabilities as well for what happens within that banquet center as well as on that bar cart. And so it was a fairly good negotiation, I think, from the city's perspective. We typically lose about $200,000 to $300,000 a year on the golf course. This agreement could potentially be strong enough based on the fact that we have a strong restaurateur who won this contract to offset that subsidy that the city's been providing previously.
Do you have any idea in the previous years before how much revenue the city made, or you lost money on it?
So on the golf course overall, we typically used to lose close to $250,000 to $300,000 a year.
Every year.
Every year. So over the last 7 to 10 years, I think we lost almost close to $3 million.
And then, Mayor, I hate to interrupt, but I just want to make sure, in Dearborn Heights, they outsource the golf course.
The golf course as well.
I understand.
I know, but I want the residents to understand that. We're not outsourcing any golf course.
So you just.
We're having
basically-
somebody put $250,000 to $300,000 in renovations who runs a tremendously, very well restaurant in Westland. In Wayne, I'm sorry, called The Avenue, correct?
The Avenue American Bistro as
Right.
well as a few others.
So he's putting his investment in there so he can generate, it's really underutilized. It's a beautiful facility, but it's gonna be even nicer.
I know it is a beautiful
Right.
place, and it was shut down for a year, I believe, or
Yeah.
more.
It was shut down, yeah.
And
it never operated all year either as well.
Yeah, it was always only open during golf season.
We spent close to $3.2 million to renovate the golf course, and that's lots of money. I'm just worried if Dearborn did the same thing.
No, we did not.
Thank God that you didn't.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Thank you for your answers,
Of
I
course.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
No, I appreciate it. I'm glad it's clarified so people can look back and get their facts on it. Councilman Paris.
Thank you, Council President. Just to clarify something, I believe was in the backup too. I'm not seeing it right now. I didn't look. But isn't part of the conversation too that we may look forward to having this as a year-long operation all year?
Yes,
and
this-
not just seasonal?
Correct. This will be a
I said that.
7-day-a-week, year-long operation, which will provide us with revenue even in the months that we're not operating a golf course.
Thank you.
Right, yeah,
With no expenses, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That was one of the biggest things about it year-round. So
I think the
appreciate it.
only thing that I'll note is, they're scheduled to hopefully commence construction in '24 and be open by '24, God willing.
No, absolutely. I know there's a lot of renovations that has to be done to bring it up to the
Correct.
caliber of what they want and to attract people. Councilman Enos?
Someone that's been in the restaurant business 30-plus years, this is a winner from what I see. So,
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Councilman Enos, I appreciate that. All right, any other questions or comments? All right, Mr. Clerk, the unanimous roll will be attached. Next item, please.
Item 59, resolution by council members Enos and Herrick approving the request of the Divine Child High School Alumni Association to conduct their 30th annual Falcon 5K run on Saturday, August 19th, 2023, beginning at 8:15 a.m. with assistance from the police department for traffic control for the entire duration of the parade route, subject to reimbursement for city services, all applicable ordinances, and the rules and regulations of the police department, and requesting immediate effect.
Okay, this is a request to approve the the Divine Child High School Alumni Association's 30th Annual 5K event. The event will be held on Saturday, August 19th from 8:15 a.m. till noon. There will be a road closure around Divine Child High School to accommodate the event. The event organizers are responsible for any charges incurred by the police department, and immediate effect is being requested. This happens annually, and it's a great event. One of our better ones in the city, very well organized. So hopefully if you have time to stop by, you should. Any questions or comments on this event? Okay, hearing and seeing none, unanimous roll be attached. Next item.
Item 60, resolution by council members Hamud and Enos authorizing the finance director to process the addition of new full-time positions and titles of behavioral health manager with a starting salary of $74,822 and public health advisor with a starting salary of $81,822 in the E&A salary plan, which has been included in the 2023-2024 budget, and requesting immediate effect.
Okay, the Department of Public Health is requesting to add an additional 2 new job classifications. Both of the positions are at the recommendation of the position description questionnaire evaluation team. The position of behavioral health manager will be responsible for coordinating, evaluating, and managing organizational efforts in the planning and implementation of group activities with behavioral and mental health setting. The second position is a public health advisor, which will serve as a senior advisor and management coordinator to all Department of Public Health operations and program activities. The current director of public health has performed all these duties on the growing department related to these programs, policies, plans, and procedures. The additional positions will allow the department the ability to scale impact across the city and with dedicated staff devoted to the programming areas, and the director has prioritized since the department's inception. The E&A contract will list the position of behavioral health manager as a grade E43 and a pay scale starting at $74,822. And the public health advisor is an E44 with a starting pay of $81,316, and immediate effect is being requested. I know, Mayor, you might want to touch on this, but I know that our public health department, new under Mayor's leadership and this council's, has done a tremendous job of getting grants. And originally it was a team of 1 for over a year and a half, maybe, and had a very good work ethic. He was able to get many, many fellows at no charges through the University of Michigan. And this is a way, he's also been able to secure some grants as well. So Mayor, would you like to speak a little bit on this?
Yeah, a staff of 1, obviously the director,
Yes.
he to date has secured over $300,000 in grant funding on their own. They helped deliver 400 residential vaccines during flu season. They're utilizing, very robust public health communication efforts through our social media to convey some very important topics, especially most recently with the air quality that was happening due to the fires in Canada. We're one of 5 national cities selected for a partnership with the National League of Cities to secure funding and free technical assistance for the city. We're working with the My Next Cities project. We're actually preparing to install air quality monitors across the city of Dearborn at no expense, also grant funded by the state of Michigan. With the help of our state legislators, just secured another $3 million plus grant for public health initiatives. And so it really is a phenomenal one-person team, and now we're obviously looking to expand And it's important to note that we've had over 100 fellows over the last year and a half,
Yes,
and
that's-
they've brought in an economic input of over $2 million at no expense to the residents. Those fellowships largely funded by the universities, which has been phenomenal. And that program will sustain itself. I think it's safe to say it's the strongest public health fellowship program in Southeast Michigan, hands down. We have a strong partnership with the University of Michigan School of Public Health and others, but it's been a blessing. We've also delivered over 3,500 units of Narcan, over 10,000 menstrual products at the schools through the program and initiative we have with our local school district. And over 500 families were supported during the baby formula shortage with what we did at the Performing Arts Center. Again, that was with a staff of 1. And so the Public Health Department has done a remarkable job, and I think we've seen multiples of return on the investment that we've made thus far.
Yeah, no question, Mayor, and with your public health background and the fact that we are looking at all our policies with a public lens, public health lens at this time, is making a significant difference. It was a shame that we had to lose some of those fellows because we didn't have the funding, but now that we have been able to get some grants and get moving, I think that it's going to even go to the next level. So I'd like to thank the Public Health Department for their work. Any other questions or comments on this item? Okay. Roll call. This one? Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Clerk, can we have a roll call vote?
All righty. Councilmember Abraham.
Yes.
Councilmember Paris.
No.
Councilmember El Sawafi.
Yes.
Councilmember Herrick.
Yes.
Council President Sereni.
Yes.
Councilmember Enos.
Yes.
Councilmember Hamud.
Yes.
6 yeas, the resolution passes.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, next item, please.
Item 61, resolution by Council President Sereni, supported unanimously, offering condolences to the family of Ronald Frazier Dazio and requesting immediate effect.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Chief Ron Dazio was born on August 11th, 1947, and passed away on June 16th of 2023 at the age of 75. He was a beloved son of the late Bernice and David Dazio of Windsor, Ontario. He leaves behind his wife of 27 years, Luann, and his children, David and Christine. Chief Dazio spent his formative years in Windsor, Ontario, where he attended high school. After graduation, he enrolled in a 6-year combination law degree program at the Detroit College of Laws. While attending the College of Law and working at a firm locally in Windsor and commuting daily to Detroit, during this time he married his high school sweetheart, Linda, who passed away sadly in 1989. The two eventually moved to Michigan to satisfy the state bar residency requirements. Chief Dazio started his legal career in the city of Dearborn after graduating college. In the late 70s and early 80s, he moved the ranks from assistant prosecutor to deputy city attorney, teaching classes at Wayne County Police Academy in 1985. He was named as chief of the city of Dearborn Police Department. Chief Dazio was married to his second wife, Luann, in 1995. During this time, the Chief Dazio made exceptional changes to the department. He promulgated rules, regulations, training, hiring standards, all that were rewritten under his tutelage. He also strengthened the union relationships, and the police department completely remodeled a new facility indoor, and also had an indoor shooting range installed as well. Additional detention cells, vehicle maintenance garage, additional space for computer operations and meeting rooms. 2 satellite police stations were established under his tutelage, one in the south end of Dearborn and one at the Fairlane Town Center to better serve our community. Under his leadership, the Dearborn Police Department transformed into a first-class law enforcement agency. Chief Dazio developed training programs that have been utilized around the country on topics such as diversity, media relations, and even the DEAR program, which he instituted in every school in the city of Dearborn. Chief Dazio hired qualified female officers, African-American as well as Arab-American officers, and initiated a mandatory diversity training program. Under his direction, and the department became the first Michigan municipal police agency to construct and equip a full-size in-house crime lab. The chief is also credited for installing state and federal connected computer terminals and video cameras in all patrol cars. He was noted as an expert in the field of law and was sought out for speaking and training engagements. The Chief Dazio held many leadership roles over the years, as far as Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police President, International Association of Chiefs of Western Wayne County, and Mutual Aid, to just name a few. After retirement from the city of Dearborn, the chief served as a consultant and expert witness for law enforcement agencies and served 9 years as a general counsel for a chief security firm. And after his second retirement, he focused on restoration of a 95-year-old historic home and spent time traveling and enjoying his family. He will be remembered in Dearborn as an outstanding leader, husband, and father, along with his reputation for passionately assisting and to give back to the community at every opportunity. He was very proud of his accomplishments and the impact he made on law enforcement, as well as the time he spent together with his family. He was loved and respected and admired by all that surrounded him. Our community mourns the great loss, and we offer our sincere condolences to Chief DZL's family. Unanimous roll be attached. Next item.
Nothing further from the clerk's office.
Okay, before I open it up to the council, I just have a few announcements. We want to give some recognition. So I know we recognize the chief already, the fire department, and their grant of nearly $800,000, but the Dearborn Finance Department, the People's Finance Department, as he likes to call himself, right? As we call you. The Dearborn Finance Department earned an esteemed certificate of achievement of excellence in financial reporting for Government Financial Officers Association of the United States and of Canada for its comprehensive annual reporting for the fiscal year ending of June 30th of 2022. We do appreciate that, Mr. Kennedy, and it was also recognized that you did receive this award as well in 21. So we wanted to make sure we recognize our finance department, doing a great job. Very easy to understand during the budget times. All right, that's good. Next, I just have an acknowledgement of our corporation counsel, Mr. Jeremy Romer, on receiving the 2023 Sister Ann Award from Siena Heights University, Alumni Awards, where you attended. This recognized significant contributions to community throughout activities that demonstrate strong leadership and ability to do things while maintaining an image of spirit of the university. Jeremy, they were a little late to the party because you were already recognized in April as an up-and-coming lawyer in Michigan's Weekly as corporation lawyers. So we'd like to thank you for your work.
They ran out of people.
Either that or they want to check. Either that or they want to check. All due seriousness, though, for Mr. Romer, it is a tough job, and per our charter, he's only allowed to have this 7 members, and the mayor is his client. That's why you see me sometimes saying you cannot address the attorney, because he's not your attorney. But he does a great job, and we do appreciate all the work you do. And for me, I've always been more aggressive in litigation, and under your tutelage, the department has taken a tremendous step of settling a lot of things that the city should be able to settle at a quick and a great pace. So thank you for all you've done and the recognition from your university as well as the Michigan Lawyers Weekly. Any comments or questions from my colleagues? Councilman Abud?
They watched Director Romer maintain his composure through our meetings. That's why they gave him the award.
I guess so. The Sister Ann Award is pretty good. Thank you. Well, we do appreciate it. Okay, we also have another acknowledgement of the fire department on a Gold Mission Lifeline Award. The Dearborn Fire Department is a recipient of the American Heart Association Mission Lifeline Gold Emergency Medical Services. This award recognizes the fire department for extensive training and response to medical emergencies, specifically EMS workers who provide timely treatment for heart attack patients. Chief, if you'd like to come up, we can just get a brief synopsis. A lot of residents might not be aware of this, but there is many cities that separate their fire departments into firefighters and EMS workers. In our city, they have, for many years, have been cross-trained, and they are responsible for both sides of that. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. All of our members are both cross-trained firefighters and paramedics, and all of our apparatus, from our ambulances to our engines to our ladder trucks, are all certified as paramedic level rigs, so that they can basically bring the ER to your living room. And the award was basically recognition of our compliance with the best practices of the protocols, medical protocols, and our ability to get patients having serious cardiac emergencies to the ER, to the cath lab in a very short period of time, which, you know, vastly improves your survivability and how your outcomes after a heart attack. So.
No, absolutely, Chief. I think many people, even if they're not privy to medical knowledge, understand that that window of time is very short, and to be able to get them to the care they need in that short time does make a difference in life or death. So again, thank you very much, and we wanted to recognize you for this.
I just want to add one comment. Thanks to the chief's submission for the SAFER grant.
Yes.
Our fire department is staffed at the highest levels in its history. Over 150 firefighters that we approved in the last budget. That's the highest in Dearborn's history because of the 12 firefighters that the federal government is providing funding for the next 3 years. And so that's also credit to the fire chief, and I think important for the residents to know. This is the most staffed, well-staffed we've ever been in the city of Dearborn, so thank you.
Without question, and during our budget time, thank you for that portion, Mayor. I wasn't sure how many were at that point. 155 is excellent. And what's more importantly, too, is that the runs, as the chief will indicate, and us as the council and legislative body have seen that there is a tremendous amount of runs. The runs continue to grow for residents, and we need to get there when they call. It's not always, the fire. It's more of the health aspect, so we do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right, finally, I just want to recognize a Dearborn native. He was in town. We couldn't get him. He had to leave back to the West Coast. Dearborn native Mike Musalam on being a recent winner of the Tony Award. This is a big deal. The council sent Mr. Musalam a citation for his remarkable achievements presented by the American Theater Wig in a category of Best Rival of a Musical for a co-producer for his co-production of Parade. We'd like to congratulate Mikey and thank him for stopping by. We did create a certificate and send it out from all the council for him. Born and raised Dearborn native. His father still lives in the area and his brother as well around in the area, but he was in town for a short period of time when we didn't have a meeting. Couldn't get him here, but a Tony Award for a Dearborn native is a big deal, and we do appreciate it and want to make sure he's recognized. Okay, this time I'd like to then see if any of my council members have anything they'd like to speak about. Councilwoman Herrick?
Thank you, Council President. A couple of things. One is I'd like to acknowledge the work of the Pockets of Perception student design team, working with the Dearborn Community Fund, and they are completing a beautiful mural at Salina Intermediate School. They are going to be having a ribbon cutting for the mural, and I was just trying to look to see if I could find the date. I think it's August 5th. Is it 17th? Okay, I'm scrolling through here. But the public is welcome to come to the ribbon cutting, look at the Community Fund's website for details about the ribbon cutting, but anytime, if you drive by the school and see this beautiful mural, know that it was done by students, some of whom had no art experience before, but they took on an internship this summer and are being paid a stipend to work on beautifying the city of Dearborn with this permanent art installation. They're working with a professional artist team, and it's all being funded through donations that went through the Dearborn Community Fund. You'll see some of the other previous Pockets of Perception works in some of our parks, some of the permanent sculptures that we have in the West Dearborn Pocket Park and in front of Old City Hall, as well as some of the other murals we have in town. So thank you to the donors who have made contributions that have funded that opportunity for students for the past 10 years. I think this was the seventh project that they've done to contribute to the vibrancy of our city. Then
16th.
Okay. Oh, it's August 16th at 5 p.m. at Salina Intermediate School is the ribbon cutting. So the public is welcome to come and see the work and congratulate the students on their success. And then I just wanted to give a shout out to the Dearborn Historical Museum. I went on one of their walking tours just this last Friday, and that also was at Old City Hall and in the neighborhood around that, talking about the evolution of some of the businesses that are still there, those that have moved on, but had a great impact on the city of Dearborn. But in particular, they talked about the City Hall itself and where the fire station used to be, kind of behind City Hall, and it was really an interesting talk. Please watch the website of the Dearborn Historical Museum for future walks, tours that they'll be leading. It's all volunteer-led and helps fund the Dearborn Historical Museum. And then also, the public is welcome to have booths at the Historical Museum's Vintage Sale that's coming up. It's an annual event outdoors on the grounds of the museum around the McFadden Ross House. So that's coming up on August 17th, 18th, and 19th. Of course, we encourage everybody to come out and check out the vintage items that are for sale there that also benefit the museum. But if you are a collector or have things that you'd like to sell, you can contact the museum about having a booth space of your own over the 3 days of the sale. And I know there are a lot of people who look forward to that sale every year. So check out the Facebook page or the museum's website for details. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Paris.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to bring up a couple things. Congratulations are in order, I believe, to Battalion Chief Brian Keith, his retirement recently, and the reason why I'm bringing this up in particular, because he spent a lot of years of service as the Chapter 23 Police and Fire Pension Trustee and provided many, many years of service. I know about that because I used to be a trustee on that pension plan, and the amount of work and the expertise and knowledge that he's had over the years. Besides just retiring as a battalion chief, devoting that much time to that effort, I just think he should be recognized. I want to make mention too that this past week we had the Dearborn Police Department Officer of the Year and awards ceremony at the Performing Arts Center. I got to thank you to Dearborn Exchange Club for being a sponsor this year, and they have performed admirably over the years in recognizing our police department and during an awards ceremony at Park Place in years past, but the last couple of years have been at the Performing Arts Center. It was a great ceremony, and in particular, Corporal Matthew Baker, and he was awarded the Police Officer of the Year, along with dozens and dozens of other police officers who performed admirably and needed that recognition and deserved that recognition. But it's not to not make mention too of all our police and fire, public safety in general. Very difficult job, and I appreciate what they've done. I know we have Smoke on the Grill this coming Saturday. I apologize, I'm not going to be able to attend that. I'm going to be elsewhere, but it is definitely a gathering for Dearborn Goodfellows, who are 100 years of service, from what I'm understanding. And the tickets are still available. You can go online very easily. And of course, all of us know Silvio Davis, he's out there too. And if you haven't gotten a ticket from him, he's available. So just wanted to make mention of that. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Enos.
Yeah, I just want to add to the Smoke on the Grill here from Councilman Paris. I'd like to bring attention to the Dearborn Goodfellows Smoke on the Grill event this Saturday, July 22nd, at Ford Field Park in Dearborn. It is a family picnic in celebration of the Dearborn Goodfellows 100th anniversary and their support of the children of Dearborn. Food will be available from 4 to 7, provided by the Park Place. The burgers, chicken, and hot dogs are all halal, and 50 Amp Fuse will be playing from 6 to 10. Beer, wine, and soda will also be available. There will also be door prizes, a tin can raffle, clowns, a bounce house, and grand prize of a full furnace or AC package provided by Mechanical Heating and Cooling. Tickets for this fun event can be purchased at the door or in advance on the Dearborn Goodfellows website. The price is $30 for adults, and children 16 and under are $10. The proceeds benefit Dearborn Goodfellows, Fortune Varsity Club, Dearborn Exchange Club, Dearborn Firefighters Burn Drive.
Excellent. Thank you, Councilman Enos. Councilman Hammoud.
Yeah, just a couple of things. One is I have to thank a combination of DPW, ECD, the downtown DDA, the police department for finally putting up a no parking sign that we have discussed at length in the council for the loading zone on Monroe. So good job, administration, for getting all your people together on that one. Next up, I'm looking forward to hatch marks to actually show people where not to park. So, I know this has been a very contentious issue for our council. So I know a lot of business owners who come here are going to be happy to hear that one. The other thing is there's also the new launch of the downtown Dearborn Summer Market. So that's going to be happening, I think, pretty much every Friday. There's a whole new list of vendors. It's a rebranding. So I think they're still going to be doing the movies in Wagner Park. So I think that's a fun time on the weekends. What is it?
City Hall.
City Hall Park. Okay, so the movies are going to be in City Hall Park. Wagner Place is going to have just the market. Correct. Okay. So, yeah, so we're going to have events everywhere, all week, all summer. So actually, no, just Fridays, but all summer. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that goes for us, and hopefully the relaunch of all this works out better. Even though I tried to do a Meet Your Council segment there last week, and I got rained out pretty aggressively. So we'll see this week. So, yeah, thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, Councilman Hammoud. Anything else from my colleagues? Okay, anything from Mayor and Administration?
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that. So a few things on the summer market updates and stuff. The summer market's been, I think, the most successful we've had. We're seeing a lot of traction, especially with some of the children's vendors. People really love when they see children who have business opportunities presented. And the first movie showing of the Super Mario Brothers, yes, was extremely successful. And I think the Wakanda sequel is next. We do want to talk about Homecoming. We don't have a meeting before Homecoming Festival. It is the first weekend of August, and Homecoming is returning home, so it's coming home. At Ford Field, we have one heck of a musical lineup within the City of Dearborn budget. That's what we can afford, but we love them. We're excited for them, and I think it should be a great show out. Obviously, we got the fireworks, so make sure you get your seat at the appropriate time. You can't camp out all day with your blanket on the field, but you can come at an appropriate time and put it down and sit. But we're super excited for the food vendors, for the carnival, and really just for the showing, and obviously for the support of our local nonprofits. So Dearborn Exchange Club,
Yes.
Fortson Alumni Varsity Club, as well as the Goodfellas. So we're extremely excited to be supporting those local nonprofits again, who reinvest in the city time and time again. And just on a last note, just to piggyback on all my council, an extreme sincere thank you to all the public servants. It is a thankless job. I think we're seeing that time and time again, especially with the proliferation of social media. We're doing our best to be the source of information. I think props to the communications department. We're trying to be the source for all information so that make sure that residents have their facts, they understand what's happening, and that we're responsive to your questions, to your needs, and to your concerns. That's the best thing that we can do to combat a lot of what you're seeing out there. And honestly, thank you to council. You don't get paid enough to do what you do. I think Councilman Abraham will agree with me on that one. But it's honestly, it's a thankless job. So I just want to thank you for being strong partners over these last 18 months. It's been a phenomenal ride thus far, and we're not even halfway through through this term together. And so, and look how far we've come. Really excited for what the next 2.5 years still have ahead of us. So thank you.
Mayor, thank you very much. I do appreciate that comment. It really does. There were some other municipalities that had said, look at what we have done in 18 months. There's a lot that you can do when you put your heart and soul into it and you use business sense and common sense. I know that we're in the building season and we're working our building department under the Economic Development Department now and changing a lot of stuff that just didn't make sense as far as how many places people had to go. Now all in one house, becoming much more effective, and we're getting less calls, which is always a good thing. So we do appreciate that, and you're right, there's a lot more to come. It's only a year and a half, so it's really, seems like a lot longer, but it's going really well. It's going really well. Before I get to the clerk's department. Yep. Councilman Parrish, you had something else you wanted to add?
I appreciate it, and I should have added this at the end, but I'd like either DPW director and/or Recreation Department to answer possibly a status of Crowley Park and also the splash pad. I know we've had a number of concerns raised about the splash pad, whether it's an operation, and if it isn't, what the timetable might be. And then also, obviously, with all the trees down, it's taken a long period of time. I've been down at Crowley Park a number of times and have taken a look. I know the crews have been there, but I just want to know what a status is and what it looks like for Crowley Park to clean up and then the splash pad.
Sure, good evening, Council President, members of Council, John Golich, Assistant Parks and Rec Director. So the splash pads at Crowley and at Hemlock are 10 years old. They were found to require extensive renovations after nearly the decade of use. So the consequential project has suffered delays from both the inclement weather, and then we've had some unanticipated reconstruction complications. So we're working through that with pretty much different departments. We work with building services, we work with our electricians, we're working with contractors on the outside. We're very close to the final resolution. We feel like this short-term delay is going to bring the long-term relief everyone wants. I anticipate the project being completed by the end of this month.
Do we know if it's planned to be open?
Yes, the minute the project is completed, we're going to open, and obviously with splash pads, we're able to keep those open a little bit longer than pools.
Yes.
So we hope to, pray for a really, good fall so we can keep those open as long as possible.
Thank you.
All right. All right, would you like to speak?
Yes, Tim Hawkins, DPW Director. Good evening, Council President, Council. To respond to the second half of that question as far as the downed trees at Crowley Park. As you know, we've had a couple storms since then, and the ground has been very wet.
Yeah.
Last Saturday, we did a full call to clean up Crowley Park, and the ground was so wet that we were unable to take equipment out onto it. while trying to clean up these trees, we really don't want to do more damage than good. And also with these other storms, we focused on the neighborhoods. We had a lot of trees that came down on houses, cars, and other things. We prioritized the residents first, the park second. We will get the park open. We have a call on Saturday to clean the park as well. God willing, with nice weather, we can get out there and get that cleaned up. Could I mention one more thing real quick?
Of course, Director Hawkins.
One last thing I'd like to bring up is the log jam removal. We are starting it next Monday. So for all that do not know what that is, we put out an RFP. We got a contractor to come in. They're going to remove the log, woody debris, and garbage out of the Rouge River from Gully Road to Michigan Avenue, pretty much. So next Monday, we are going to start that, but I do want to calm some fears. We've had some calls about, are we just going through and clear cutting everything? Are we just removing everything from the river? And that is not the case. We are not removing any stumps. They hold the root system along the bank that causes erosion. So our plan is to go through and remove the debris and garbage, but we will leave anything in the ground that helps secure the banks, as well as when this is completed, we are going to work with Friends of the Rouge to do some projects with Friends of the Rouge and Eagle for erosion mitigation as far as new plantings and things like that. So I just wanted to put that out there. This is not a clear-cut situation. We are going in, we are technically removing things to open the riverway, but not cause erosion.
Thank you, Director Hawkins. Yeah, I appreciate it. I know that, and I know the mayor's familiar with this too, but I do appreciate, I did send an email when there was a tree down on Outer Drive that was covering the road, so I do appreciate it. But just, I always look at trying to find the root cause to actually fix the problem. And I know that we had several arborists in our city history. Right now, how many do we have on staff?
Well, we have one that is our city arborist, but I believe 3 are registered arborists.
Registrars, okay. The only reason is, you know, I've had this conversation with you, Mayor, and it seems like every tree that the arborist sees, there's nothing wrong with it, and then the next wind comes and it's on the ground.
Yes.
So I mean, my concern is, I mean, we are a Tree City USA. We have an implementation program this council, and the previous council has adhered to, that whenever the trees come out on the easement, that they're replaced in the same manner. Of course, there are different trees now that they won't not cause as much breakage of the cement and so on. But I mean, we do have to just get, it seems like a lot of the trees that are coming down were slated or tagged to be taken down.
That's correct.
Or our arborist had visited because the resident has complained, and there it is down, you know, I mean, I had one where I had to take photos where they said there was absolutely nothing wrong with it, and it was hollow inside. So I just want to make that, you know, a point to you that we really, an arborist on staff just saying is not good enough. And we really just have to look at it, because it's not by mistake that we have all these trees coming down at the same time.
So we are currently reviewing our policies as well as engineering's policies on how we work around trees. We've been taking photos of the trees that have been coming down the last couple storms, and if we found that we had replaced concrete near it, we're looking at how the roots were cut or damaged during the process. So these are all things we're evaluating right now to try to figure out best practices moving forward on our projects, as well as being able to review trees in the city.
Thank you, Director Hawkins. Mr. Clerk, anything from your department?
Yeah, I'd just like to mention, with cooperation from the administration, the clerk's office will have a booth at homecoming for a little public outreach to let folks know about the changes in the elections coming up in 2024. We'll be talking about early voting. We'll be talking about the new drop boxes that we're going to have throughout the city. And we will have some giveaways to give to people on their way out to remind them of the changes that are coming in 2024. And this is our first step toward our public outreach, and just to inform people about all the changes that are coming. And we thank the administration for allowing us to do that at homecoming, which we know will be a huge crowd, and we'll be able to touch a lot of voters. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I think that's great. There is some changes, and it's always good to get the outreach there, so we'll look forward to seeing you there as well. Okay. At this time, we will begin our public comment portion. We do have a presentation from OHM, Valerie and Brandon. So if you want to, is it ready to go? Just for our residents, many people understand, I was very vocal before the mayor took over regarding the flooding issues, and you know, born and raised in Dearborn, and you know, I hate to say it, but they've been moving water since Roman ages, so it's not, you know, that difficult to understand that we have to get water out of the people's, you know, basements. So we conducted a study. I appointed Councilman Hammoud as the council appointee to sit with OHM, and they're bringing us, at the request of the council, and thank you, Mayor, to bring us an update. The mayor kindly wanted you to come at this time as well so that we can have our residents see it or have a tape delayed to show what are we actually paying you guys to do, where have you gotten so far, what does it look like, because I know it is a process. So if you can, go ahead, just state your guys' name and the company again, OHM.
I'm Valerie Novice. I'm the project manager for the contract, and
And I'm Brandon Ellefson. I'm the lead engineer on the project for developing the model.
so thank you, council. Thank you, Mayor. There is the presentation, I think, at least on.
There you go.
a couple. There we go. So this is just to give you an overall update of where we are in the process. I will remind you that this was intended to be a 2-year study. It will take the 2 years until we get to the finish line.
Oh, it went away?
I think, CDTV team, can we keep it on the slides? Thank you.
Just a reminder of the key components of the project. There was a data collection phase, model development, which is where we are in the process now. We're going to go into these in a little bit more detail. A root cause analysis, and then the flooding solutions formulation. As a key piece of that is the level of service criteria, and then of importance throughout the entire process is community engagement, which is part of why we're here giving you an update. When we sat down with the city team, we identified what were going to be the critical project success factors. The overall project goal is to come up with equitable and cost-effective solutions to mitigate the flooding issues into the future. Part of that is making sure we have community involvement and engagement throughout the process, an improved system level of service, a reduction in impacted homes and businesses to future flooding, and developing those cost-effective solutions. And at the end of the 2-year study, what we will have is a 10-year implementation roadmap of solutions to address the flooding. So at the end of the 2 years, we will not have addressed or solved the flooding. We will identify the solutions to then implement to address the flooding. And I'm going to turn over to Brandon to talk through some of those steps in more detail.
Okay. So I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey here of what we've done to date and then where we're going to be going into the future of this project. And so obviously this kind of all began back in November when we had our community outreach meeting where we started to set the frame of what we're going to do on this project. And it began with the data collection phase of this project, where we've been working very intimately and closely with the engineering team at with the city of Dearborn to gather the information we need to help develop what we're going to call an informed model to represent what's going on in the city's flooding issue. And now there's a number of reasons, a number of complicating factors in what can cause urban flooding issues. And so to be able to address these issues, we need to have a tool at hand that we can then use to try to identify what solutions are going to have positive impact on the system itself. And so this began with a collection of a large amount of data that the city of Dearborn actually has a very, very well-kept set of records for the amount of data they have in their sanitary sewer systems. A thorough review of that information, and then a process where we basically gathered as much data as we could to fill in the holes for where data was missing as piece of those puzzles. We've also sat down with the operators a number of times as well to kind of, since they are the people on the ground working with the system itself, their knowledge is invaluable in trying to identify operational changes that have been made, things that go on in the system that we might not be so attuned to as someone looking at the process or the modeling the system from the outside. So this began with the installation of the data that we're going to need to actually help constrain the model to be able to be a good predictive tool for us is installing flow meters in the system. And so back in November, we installed 2 flow meters, which the 2 blue ones in the top installed back November. Those are models that are going to be in the ground throughout the duration of this next year and are going to be used to monitor the ground conditions as it responds to wet weather events and how the system responds to rain over the duration of a period of time. We've then installed 6 more meters that were then gone out this last spring, and those are going to be our calibration tools to try to help dial in the model's predictive capability and what is actually happening in the system.
Can I make just one comment on that?
Yes, please.
when we first installed them, we kind of had the drought that happened, and so we were worried they weren't going to get enough rain to actually build out a strong hydraulic model. Thankful for the rain that's been coming, because I think it's only going to help us build a stronger model, and so I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, no, it's a very good point. We've been talking about that a lot because there was a very long, prolonged period of, like you said, that dry period. So we have been getting some rain lately, which is actually going to help us advancing into this next phase of the project, when I'm going to get to in a second. And so obviously, we have got to the point in the model development where we have fully configured the model that we're going to be using to help address these sewer issues. The model is, for all intensive purposes, built and complete, other than the fact that it has not been calibrated to what are real conditions out in the system. So we have gone then, well, I'm going the wrong way, that's what I'm doing. Okay. So as I just went through, I started talking about the model development process, and we're gonna be developing a calibrated model that will then be reflecting the system. And so now at this point, since we have a fully developed model for the city system, we are moving into this calibration phase. And this is where that rainfall becomes extremely important. Our flow meters are gonna be collecting data continuously. They have been collecting since April. They're going to be collecting until the end of October. And those rain events that we are getting are then going to be data that we are going to feed into the model and use it to try to improve its predictive capabilities. And so when we start talking about the validation and the calibration process, I'm not going to get into the extreme details of how this works, but looking at the simple figure on the bottom, where if you look at the red line, which might be a reality of a measured data set, and the green line, which might be a model, an uncalibrated model, we then can use the data that we're feeding into the model and start tweaking the parameters to change how the model predicts what's going on in the system. And so that's the process we're phasing into now. We've now finally had a few rain events that have happened in July. We're taking that data and we're going to be putting it into the model and starting to turn the knobs. They're going to be able to make it a more predictive and a more accurate tool for us to use to identify some of the problems in the system. And that leads us, once we have gone through this process, so this is going to be an ongoing thing through October, this is going to lead us to what is the next phase of the project, which is the root cause analysis. And so there are a number of things in every sort of sanitary system that can be leading to these urban flooding issues. Obviously, basement backups and street flooding, and a lot of things that we're experiencing now. There's assumptions that the river levels, the high river levels that were experienced in 2021 could have been a contributing factor to the urban flooding issues. There's pipe capacity issues, pumping capacity, the ability of the caissons, the large vertical storage structures to store volume of water. All of these are factors that then go into this complex model that we are going to be working through and identifying what are those key issues, the real root causes that are causing the problem. And once we identify what those issues are, whether it be river level or whether it be volume of storage or whether it be the depth of the pipes and the slopes, then we can start getting to the actual solutions of the problem to try to identify what can we do, given what we know about how the system operates and given what we know about what is causing the flooding, then where do we go and what can we start building into this long 10-year plan to start addressing those flooding issues and come up with solutions. So then I'm going to pass it off to Val to start talking about the next, which is our level of service criteria.
So the goal of setting level of service criteria is to identify the boundaries at which we're going to develop the solutions for. These are things like we want to minimize flooding during a 100-year rain event. We want to only see flooding once every X number of years, and only on major roadways, as an example, for a limited period of time. I will inform you that setting a criteria of never flooding again is not something we as engineers can really set bounds on, because we can't necessarily define what that means. So never flooding for a particular rain event or a certain period of time is more of a boundary that we can operate under. I can't control Mother Nature, but we can certainly set high level of service criteria. Part of that is a balance. The higher the level of protection, the higher the cost of the solutions to address that flooding. And so a key piece of that is going to be engaging the city and the residents and the property owners to understand what is acceptable. What are the conditions at which we are going to tolerate moving forward? And then what happens when that condition is exceeded, and being transparent about that. And then we get to the solutions phase, where we've have a working model that represents what's physically in the ground and is predicting well the conditions and responses to storm events. We've defined our design criteria or our level of service objectives, and then we're working through the solutions. So there's some optimization routines that will be going on to create a set of solutions to address the flooding issue. And then, as we've alluded to, community engagement will be continuing throughout this process. As Brandon mentioned, we had our kickoff back in November. We had a survey that we posted, which allowed residents to share any flooding experiences that they saw. The next time we'll have a major public engagement meeting is going to be with the level of service criteria discussion. We have a meeting with the engineering team coming up on Tuesday to talk through that framework, what that looks like, and then we'll share that out with the public. Root flooding causes, what were the causes, as Brandon mentioned? Was it the river elevation? Was it something, a capacity limitation in the system? That is also gonna be early fall or after the end of the summer, and we have a calibrated model. And then getting to the key issue is what is going to potentially mitigate and solve the flooding issues is late spring and maybe early summer of next year. And that's the roadmap to how we then implement projects to address the flooding. I think we met with Alia Phillips and some of the neighborhood liaisons and community engagement team members with the city last Friday to inform them of, we gave them the very similar update that we're giving you today so that they can be a first line of defense in answering questions as residents might share those questions. And this is the text that's intended to be shared out on social media and translated in as well. So, summarizing our next steps, we're going to define the level of service criteria, calibration and validation of the model as we have rain events that are occurring, hopefully not too big of rain events, but just enough to calibrate the model, and then developing the alternatives, doing that system optimization to develop the roadmap to implementation.
I think we hit the sweet spot on rain this weekend, unless anybody had any flooding issues. Tell me.
You got to speak into the mic here, Brandon, I'm sorry, just so they can hear you.
Oh, sorry. No, I think, yeah, this last rain event, I think, hit a good sweet spot for the model calibration because it provided an adequate amount of rain and hopefully not any real wide impact.
Yeah, it wasn't for a duration that was really long, so.
Yeah.
Hopefully that helps get some data.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. I don't want to put you on the spot, but, you know, just some of the basic stuff that some of the residents had said regarding pumps and people forgetting to turn pumps on and off. Have you gotten to that aspect of, was there any pumps that were, that caused any of this, or have you gotten that far yet?
No, we're not to that phase in the investigation. That'll be next steps. Once we have a calibrated model, it'll be easier to parse out some of those root causes.
Okay, well, I do appreciate that. Any questions from my colleague, Councilman Hammoud?
Just when it comes to the acceptance criteria and kind of what kind of models you guys are looking, you did mention like 100-year storm, things like that. Are you using, when you mention that, do you mean the Federal Atlas storms, or do you mean like the SEMCOG more modern models?
Are you referring to the climate projection analysis?
Well, yeah, like basically the precipitation, they're different. At the end of the day, it boils down to precipitation numbers over a period of time, right? It's like one table, essentially. It's just everyone has their own table as to what constitutes a 100-year storm. To the residents of Dearborn, a 100-year storm is much heavier than the 10-year storms that have been flooding their houses. So I think the hard part is trying to explain this to, we'll say, like people aren't as acquainted with this, like that word 100-year storm or 10-year storm can mean so many different things. I'm trying to just understand from you guys, what's your definition of a 10 or 100-year storm? What models are you guys using?
So Ironically enough, I tell my team that we should never use a 100-year storm because it implies that it's only gonna happen once every 100 years, and
Right.
that's really not what the definition of that means.
Right.
So, excuse me that I use the term, and when I myself say that that's not a good term.
Can you define it though? Because when you define it to me, it was very clear about what it actually means.
So it's not a storm that occurs once every 100 years. It is a storm that has a statistical probability of happening, once, 0.1% in any given year. So we could
At a
get,
specific point.
yes, so we could get 2 storm events in a year that are equivalent to what is statistically probable to occur 0.1% in the year, and that would be kind of the equivalent of a 100-year storm event.
Yeah, and I guess not to get too far into the math, I understand it, but let's get back to the specifics. My whole point is, are you, when you're building out these models and when you come to present to us next time on solutions, I just want to make sure you're prepared, because I'm going to ask you this again, but I'm telling you ahead of time, which is, I want to make sure you guys are using a model that actually takes into account climate change and changes in El Nino and El Nina, because it all dumps on us. So I just want to make sure you guys are using the SEMCOG models that are actually calibrated for this stuff, as opposed to just the basically textbook guidelines from the 1980s that the National Institute of Engineers came up with for liability reasons, practically. So I want reality. I don't want textbook stuff. That's
Correct.
okay.
And to your point too, one of the aspects of this project that is, and this is getting a little bit in the weeds, but I think you like getting in the weeds a little
That's
bit.
fine. I'm a little.
So-
I think people will appreciate
those
that
antecedent
aspect.
moisture model flow meters that we installed.
Yeah.
The intent of those is to basically use a long historic past record of data within the city of Dearborn of climatological data, and then use the data we collect from those long terms to basically project not just a recurrence of a rain event, but the recurrence frequency of a flow. So rain and flow are 2 very different things. You could have the same rain event happen today and have the same rain event happen in the spring, and the one that happens in the spring could potentially cause flooding and not a drop here because of the antecedent moisture conditions that are happening around. And that's just one of many variables that can cause that problem. So when you, again, another misnomer of these storms, if you say a 50-year storm event will cause flooding, well, it might today, it might not have in the spring, or vice versa.
And to kind of simplify that, not to interrupt you.
Yes, no,
What
absolutely.
he's basically saying is, if it's been dry for a week and then it rains, it's a different story than if it's been raining for a week and then it rains.
Correct.
Because you have different variables. So, and that's fine.
So to
All I was
answer
asking
your
was just the
question
models. I was asking a very simple
We are
question.
gonna look at climate change analysis
Yeah.
in the modeling and the solutions development.
I just want to hear you say you're not going to use the ancient textbook stuff.
We are not using the ancient textbooks. We are using.
I think-
Works for me.
modern-
I'm not going to use
models.
TP40.
We're not, no, and we are
It's
looking
not
at climate
100%
change
artificial.
projections.
in the contract, but it's in the response.
Yeah, it's in their response.
Just
yeah.
want to make sure.
All right.
Yes.
Well, I think we're done clarifying the clarifications, and hopefully, we will see you guys soon. We really do appreciate it. Obviously, the residents and the mayor and the council are full on board on getting this corrected. And I know I simplified it to make it simple. I know it's not that simple, but it really isn't as complicated as it was presented to us in the past. It really wasn't. I mean, you can only push water out so much, and you gotta have the mechanism. Simple flaps that we installed already under the administration has saved thousands of homes for potentially being flooded, whole neighborhoods pushing back into the street. So there is an answer and there is a way to fix this. So I was saying that from 3-4 years ago, and I'm glad that we're almost there. I can't wait to see where we got to go for it. Because to remind our residents, the city has done this back in the early 80s, and then the caissons again, and both solutions have failed, both times. Well, at least the second time resulted in litigation. So I want to make sure that we get it right this time. So I do appreciate you guys for coming in and give us a presentation. And thanks for sticking around.
No problem. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. All right, to continue on the public portion, comment portion, I have a card for Stephanie Butler.
So I just want to point out, we're in public comments. I think the presentation probably should have been fit somewhere else in the agenda. Otherwise, they should get 3 minutes like the rest of us. So moving on. You guys said at the beginning of the meeting, you can't talk about the health department expansion. You can't talk about that. So we talk about it after you guys vote on it. Right? Did you guys vote on that?
No, Ms. Butler. if you want, I want you to address the council, you can address me on it. That we said that if you have an item of question, that's best suited that you bring that question forward, like the other gentleman did when the question was before us, before we placed the vote. So we did not say you couldn't say anything. You had the choice to come up at that time. That's when it's proper. You come up for the item when the item is called so that you can make your voice heard before they vote. So no one said what you're alluding to.
Okay, usually, every.
Right, we're not gonna go
place-
to the school board and wherever all the
No,
boards
I'm
you've
not
been to,
talking
'cause
about that.
we're not that
Mike,
board.
please, would you stop and listen to people? I don't know why you talk to people like this.
Excuse me, Ms. Butler.
You are
Ms.
disrespectful.
Ms. Butler,
You
you
can
are
bang your
warned.
gavel
You
at
are
me.
warned. Do not raise your
Are you gonna
voice.
kick
You
me out
asked a
too?
question. I answered your question.
Okay,
Okay?
but it's in the manner of which you answer it.
Right,
Mr.
I'm gonna
Serrani.
answer you the way I answer, and I'm sorry if you're offended by it,
Okay.
but I'm gonna run the meeting the way we need to run.
Got
So you can continue.
So can I talk? Thank you. So, once upon a time, I remember not everyone was on this body, but there was a body, and they were gonna vote to censure you. I remember a slew of residents coming in to stick up for you, because you know what? Regardless of what anyone thinks, this is America, you have a right to speak. And we came and we stood with you on that. Nobody had the right to censure you, okay? I'm just gonna throw that out there. I'm against expanding the public health. Why? Wayne County has a health department. Access gets a ton of grants for that. They have a mental health treatment, substance abuse, all of that. I see no need to continue to spend our money like it's going out of style, okay? That's just that. Second of all, we preach mental health a lot in this city. We want social workers to go drive around with her. But yet, when a member of the public comes up to speak, who it's well known has a history of mental illness, we slam gavels, we kick him out, we don't allow him to speak. I want you to know that the way he's spoken to here affects him. I want you to know that once he was thrown out of here for freedom of speech, he had a mental breakdown. He went to the hospital. So who are we to sit up here and preach mental health when we sit here and we talk to our residents in this manner? It's disgusting. It's ugly. It's ugly. You are elected officials. We understand this is your meeting. We understand this is your attorney, but who pays for the attorney? The city, the taxpayers, the residents.
You have 30 seconds.
Is it too much to ask for a little respect? Too much to ask. Don't preach something unless this body exemplifies it to the public. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Ms. Butler. Next, we have Mr. Mike Hashem.
Mike Hashem, I just want to point out earlier when I was up here, I've been out of your hair, guys, for about a year. Everybody knows that Mike is right to the point. I say it like it is, and I get my facts right. Earlier, a statement was said that my sources are non-valid, or they lured to as non-valid or from somewhere. But I want to congratulate the Dearborn Police Department. They actually, if you go on the City of Dearborn website, they give you the stats, and those stats are reported to crimemapping.com. Crime Mapping does not lie. Okay, local news sources don't lie. So when I was up here explaining the certain situations that happened in our city, that these were actual situations, and I could bring you guys, if you don't believe what I'm saying, I could bring you guys factual proof at the next meeting, in my hand, black and white, to actually see what's going on. The police department, with all that they're doing, these guys are being literally outnumbered, they're overworked, and they're doing the best that they can. What I'm worried about is the quality of life in the end of the day for our residents. I'm not up here trying to make a show, because if I was up here trying to make a show, I'd be here at every council meeting like I used to. And let me tell you something, when I'm up here, I speak facts. I don't just dig something up and throw it at you guys. So, and another thing is, I want to just tell everybody on this board that take a ride with one of the officers at night. You guys will see what really goes down in our neighborhoods, especially on the east side. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hashem.
Can I make a comment, Council President?
Yes, Mayor.
You know, issues of public safety are taken very seriously by both the administration and the council. I think, you know, in addition to ensuring that crime is down, which violent crime is year over year, we know that there are issues with auto theft. Auto theft is up. Almost a little over half of all auto thefts, though, do occur on Ford Motor Company lots, obviously because of the chip shortage. But we did launch an auto theft task force, which is the first of its kind in the region, and we have the support of our Wayne County Prosecutor's Office. So I think it's important to note that we're deploying our assets and our resources to the best of our abilities and always take the concerns of residents seriously.
Appreciate it, Mayor. And just for the residents, under my tenure as the council president, I instituted a ride-along with the police department. It was granted by the chief, and pretty much almost every member, someone spent 24 hours with a police department. 23, 24? 24.
27 years.
There you go. So I did feel that was necessary when some of our budgets, part of the police department is well over $46 million. I asked my colleagues, and they were given the permission to do ride-alongs, and almost everyone did take advantage of that to see what happens on the day-to-day basis with the officers in the car to get the real-life aspect. So to that point, we have instilled that. Any other questions or comments from the public? Please step forward and state your name and address for the record. Okay, if none, we will motion to adjourn. Motion adjourned by Councilwoman Herrick. We are adjourned.